The camera flash went off at the exact wrong moment, or maybe the exact right one. What happened next at that wedding reception would be seen by 65 million people. A photograph, a pregnant woman, a CEO's hand around her throat, and everything that came after. This is the story of how one split second changed everything. How a viral photo exposed 4 years of secrets. How a woman 7 months pregnant had to choose between the life she built and the life she deserved. You'll hear about the photographer who refused to stay silent, the three other women who finally came forward, the courtroom battles, the threats, the birth of a baby girl caught between truth and family. But most importantly, you'll hear about what happens when the mask finally slips, when private violence becomes public knowledge, when one woman says enough. So settle in. This story isn't short, but I promise you, it's worth every minute. Because sometimes the worst moment of your life is also the moment that sets you free. Let's begin. The photographer's flash went off at the exact wrong moment. Or maybe, Cassie thought later, the exact right one. The light exploded white and blinding. Time froze. And in that frozen moment, Derek's fingers were wrapped around her throat. Cassie Morrison had spent 7 months growing a human being inside her body. 7 long months of swollen ankles and morning sickness and a back that screamed every time she stood up. 7 months of preparing a nursery that Derek never seemed to have time to help with. 7 months of telling herself that once the baby came, everything would be different. She should have known better. Rachel's wedding reception sparkled around them. String lights hung from the ceiling of the country club ballroom. The bride's white dress caught the light as she danced with her new husband. Laughter bubbled up from tables covered in burgundy linens and gold-rimmed plates. The DJ played something upbeat, something joyful. Cassie had worn the burgundy bridesmaid dress Rachel picked out. The silk felt too tight across her pregnant belly. The color made her look washed out. Or maybe that was just exhaustion. She had been on her feet for 6 hours. First the ceremony, then photos, then the receiving line, then dinner, then more photos. Her ankles had disappeared hours ago. Swollen flesh ballooned over her strappy heels. I need to sit down, she told Derek. He stood beside her with his third whiskey in hand, maybe his fourth. She had stopped counting. His tie hung loose around his neck. His dress shirt had come untucked on one side. He smiled at the people passing by. The smile of a man everyone loved. The smile of a successful CEO. The smile of someone who had everything. We're not leaving yet, Derek said without looking at her. His voice came out pleasant, easy, like they were discussing the weather. I didn't say leave, I just need to sit for a minute. Stop embarrassing me. Cassie felt her face grow hot. She glanced around. No one seemed to be paying attention. The music thumped. People danced. The bride threw her head back and laughed at something someone said. I'm not embarrassing you, Cassie said quietly. My feet hurt. The baby is kicking. I just want to sit down. You're always tired. You're always complaining. Derek took another sip of whiskey. The ice clinked against the glass. Other pregnant women managed just fine. The words landed like little cuts. Quick, sharp. She had heard variations of them before. She was too sensitive, too emotional, too dramatic. Pregnancy hormones made her irrational. She needed to toughen up, be stronger, be better. Derek, please. She put her hand on his arm. Just 10 minutes. Then we can stay as long as you want. He jerked his arm away. Don't touch me when I'm talking. Something in his voice made her step back. She knew that tone, that edge, the way his jaw tightened, the way his eyes went dark and flat. She had learned to read the warning signs over 4 years of marriage. The shift in his breathing, the tension in his shoulders, the way his hand curled into a fist. I'm sorry, she said automatically. The words came out before she could stop them. I didn't mean, you never mean anything. Derek's voice stayed low, controlled. No one around them would hear. No one would know. You just do whatever you want. No consideration for anyone else. No thought about how it looks when my pregnant wife can't handle a simple wedding reception. I can handle it. You just what, Cassie? You just need to sit? You just need to leave? You just need everyone to cater to you because you're carrying a baby? He leaned closer, His breath smelled like whiskey and anger. You know what I think? I think you're using this pregnancy as an excuse. A free pass to be weak. Cassie's hand went to her belly, protective, instinctive. The baby kicked against her palm, a little flutter of movement, a reminder that she was not alone in her body anymore, that every choice she made affected someone else, someone tiny and helpless and depending on her. That's not fair, she whispered. What's not fair, Derek said, is that I have to stand here and deal with your drama at my best friend's wedding. What's not fair is that you can't suck it up for one night, one single night, when it's not about you. He turned to walk away, to leave her standing there, to make his point and then disappear into the crowd where everyone would see successful Derek. Charming Derek, the man who had built Morrison Tech Solutions from nothing into a company worth millions. The man who employed over 100 people. The man who donated to charity and sat on boards and gave speeches about innovation and leadership. Cassie reached for him. She didn't know why. Maybe to apologize again. Maybe to beg him not to be angry. Maybe just because 4 years of marriage had trained her to smooth things over, to fix things, to make him happy so he wouldn't. Her fingers brushed his sleeve. Derek spun around. His hand shot out faster than she could track, faster than thought. His fingers wrapped around her throat, not squeezing, not yet, but there, present, a warning and a promise all at once. His thumb pressed against her windpipe, light pressure, just enough to make her aware, make her afraid. Cassie's hands flew to her belly, both of them, covering, protecting. The baby kicked hard, as if sensing danger, as if trying to fight from inside. The music kept playing, people kept dancing, the world kept spinning, and Derek Morrison's hand stayed wrapped around his pregnant wife's throat. Then came the flash, bright, white, explosive. Jenna Hartley's camera shutter clicked. The sound cut through everything, through the music, through the crowd noise, through the moment itself. That single mechanical click seemed to echo in Cassie's ears. Or maybe that was just her heart pounding, her pulse hammering against Derek's thumb. Time started again. Derek's face shifted. The rage drained away like water through a sieve. His eyes widened. His mouth opened. His hand dropped from her throat. Cassie. He reached for her again. Different this time. Gentle. Concerned. Baby, I'm sorry. I didn't. But Cassie had already stumbled backward. Her hand went to her throat. The skin felt hot, tender. She could feel the ghost of his fingers, the pressure points where his grip had been. The music stopped. Someone must have signaled the DJ, or maybe he saw, maybe everyone saw. Cassie looked around and found faces turned toward them, dozens of faces, some shocked, some confused, some carefully blank. Rachel's mother pushed through the crowd, a small woman in a lavender dress, her face tight with something that might have been anger or might have been fear. Maybe you two should go, she said quietly. Nicole appeared at Cassie's elbow, her best friend, her maid of honor. Nicole's hand gripped her arm, steadying, supporting. Let me get you some water, Nicole said. Her voice shook. She's fine. Derek stepped closer. His hand hovered near Cassie's shoulder but didn't touch. She's just tired. Pregnancy, you know, emotional. I was trying to help her and we saw, Rachel's mother said. The words came out flat, final. It's not what it looked like. Derek's charm clicked back into place. The smile, the easy posture, the reasonable tone. She was swaying. I thought she might fall. I reached out to steady her, and the angle. He gestured vaguely. Bad timing with the photo. Bad angle, but I would never. Cassie wanted to speak, wanted to say something, but her throat felt tight, not from his hand, from something else. Something that tasted like shame and fear, and the horrible awareness that everyone was staring. Everyone knew. Everyone had seen. God, why did I pull away? The thought hit her hard and unwelcome. I know better than to make a scene. Everyone's staring. This is my fault. I should have just stayed quiet, should have smiled, should have waited until we got home. Let's just go, she heard herself say. The words came out rough, scraped raw. Nicole's grip on her arm tightened. Cassie, please, I want to go home. Derek put his hand on the small of her back, possessive, guiding. Come on, baby, let's get you out of here. They walked through the crowd together. Cassie kept her eyes down. She felt people watching, felt their phones out, felt the moment crystallizing into something permanent, something digital, something that would exist beyond this ballroom. Her burgundy dress swished around her legs. Her heels clicked on the marble floor. The baby kicked against her ribs. 1, 2, 3 times. Like a protest, like a question. They made it to the side exit, to the cool night air, to the parking lot where Derek's Mercedes waited under a streetlight. Cassie got into the passenger seat. The leather felt cold against her legs. She pulled the seatbelt across her belly, adjusted it so it wouldn't press on the baby. Her hands shook. Derek slid into the driver's seat. He didn't start the car right away, just sat there, hands on the steering wheel, knuckles white, jaw tight. You made me look like a monster back there, he said finally. Cassie stared at her hands, at the ring on her left finger. White gold and diamonds. She had been so happy when he proposed, so sure, so in love with the man who promised her forever. I didn't mean to, she whispered. I know. His voice softened. I know you didn't mean to, but that's what happened. Everyone's going to think. He stopped, breathed. We'll fix this. We'll say it was a misunderstanding. That you were tired and I was helping you and the photo caught things at the wrong moment. Pregnancy hormones made you overreact. Cassie pulled down the visor, flipped open the mirror. Her neck looked red in the dim light. She could see the marks, faint but there, like shadows, like proof. Derek's phone buzzed, then buzzed again, then started buzzing continuously. He pulled it from his pocket. His face went pale in the screen's glow. What the hell? What is it? Derek didn't answer, just stared at his phone. His thumb moved, scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. Then he turned the screen toward her. The photo filled the display, crystal clear, perfectly lit, time-stamped. Derek's hand around Cassie's throat, his thumb on her windpipe, her hands on her belly, her face showing everything. Fear, pain, shock, resignation. The caption read, "This is what abuse looks like. This happened at my sister's wedding tonight. His wife is 7 months pregnant." Already the post had hundreds of comments, hundreds of shares. The number kept climbing as they watched. 500, 100, 1,000. Derek pulled the car onto the road. His tires screeched. He drove too fast, taking corners hard, running a yellow light that turned red before they cleared the intersection. Cassie pressed her hand against her belly, feeling the baby move, feeling her own heart race, feeling everything and nothing at the same time. Her phone started buzzing too, in her small clutch purse, against her hip. She didn't reach for it, couldn't, just sat there as Derek drove and her phone buzzed and the night rushed past outside the windows. The silence in the car felt thick, heavy, like something alive. They pulled into their driveway. The house sat dark, empty. They had left hours ago for the wedding, left with Cassie in her burgundy dress and Derek in his suit, left as a couple heading to celebrate someone else's happiness. Now they returned as something else, something fractured, something exposed. Derek turned off the engine. They sat in the sudden quiet. The car ticked as it cooled. Somewhere down the street, a dog barked. I didn't mean to grab you like that, Derek said, not looking at her, staring straight ahead at the closed garage door. You know I would never hurt you on purpose. It was just, he made a frustrated sound. You were pulling away, acting like I was some kind of threat, making a scene. I just wanted to get your attention. Cassie unbuckled her seatbelt. The click seemed loud. Cassie, Derek reached across the center console. His hand found hers, squeezed. Talk to me. Don't shut down. We need to handle this together. Handle what? This. He gestured at his phone. The photo, the comments, the shares. This is going to blow up if we don't control it. How do you control something that already happened? We tell the truth, our truth, not whatever story people are making up based on one bad photo. His grip tightened on her hand. You know me. You know I'm not. He stopped. We'll get through this together, like we always do. Cassie looked at him. really looked at him. His face in the shadows, his eyes pleading, his whole posture screaming desperation and something that almost looked like fear. She pulled her hand away, opened the car door, stepped out into the night. The concrete driveway felt solid under her feet. Real. She walked to the front door on legs that felt like they belonged to someone else, found her keys in her clutch, unlocked the door. Inside, the house smelled like the vanilla candle she had lit that morning, like their life, like everything she had built with Derek over 4 years. The photos on the walls, the furniture they picked out together, the baby's room down the hall with the crib she assembled herself because Derek was always too busy. She walked straight to the bathroom, locked the door, turned on the light. The bruises were already forming, 5 marks, like fingerprints, purple and red against her skin. Cassie stared at herself in the mirror, at the woman looking back. Burgundy dress, messy hair, swollen ankles, 7 months pregnant, neck marked with her husband's handprint. She pulled out her phone. 27 missed calls, 49 text messages, 17 voicemails. She opened Instagram. The photo had 30,000 shares. The bathroom floor felt cold through Cassie's dress. She sat with her back against the tub. The porcelain pressed hard against her spine. Her phone glowed in her hands. The screen cast blue light across her face. 30,000 shared became 40,000 while she watched. The comments scrolled past, hundreds of them, thousands. People she had never met weighing in on the worst moment of her life. Call the police. This is horrific. That poor woman. There's always 2 sides to a story. She probably provoked him. Pregnant women can be very emotional. Classic abuse. Get out now. Innocent until proven guilty. I've seen that look on a woman's face before. That's real fear. Cassie's thumb kept scrolling. She couldn't stop. Each comment felt like a judgment, a verdict, a voice adding to the noise in her head. Someone knocked on the bathroom door, gentle, barely audible over the ringing in her ears. Cassie? Derek's voice came through muffled. Baby, please come out. We need to talk about this. She didn't answer, just kept scrolling, reading strangers' opinions about her marriage, her life, her choices. I've been making calls, Derek continued, to our PR firm, to my lawyer, to the board members who saw the post. We can fix this, but I need you to work with me. The baby kicked, hard, like a punch from inside. Cassie put her hand over the spot, rubbed gentle circles. I know you're scared, Derek said. I know this looks bad, but you have to trust me. You have to believe that I would never intentionally hurt you. Tonight was just... He paused. It got out of hand. The drinking, the stress, everything. But it's not who we are. It's not who I am. Cassie closed Instagram, opened her text messages instead. Nicole had sent 15 messages, each one more urgent than the last. OMG, are you okay? Please answer. I'm so worried. That photo. Cassie, please, I'm coming over. Derek won't let me in. Call me when you can. I love you. You don't have to go through this alone. I always knew something was wrong. I'm here whenever you're ready. Please be safe. I have a guest room if you need it. Just say the word. Marcus, her older brother, left 3 voicemails. She played the first one. His voice came through tight with barely controlled anger. Cass, I saw it. Everyone saw it. I'm driving over right now. If he touches you again, I swear to God. The message cut off. Her mother had called 6 times. Each voicemail started calm and ended panicked. Unknown numbers kept appearing. She didn't recognize most of them. Didn't answer. Just watched them pile up. Cassie, Derek tried the door handle. Still locked. Come on, you can't stay in there all night. Think about the baby. You need to rest, to take care of yourself. The baby. Always the baby. As if she ever stopped thinking about the baby. As if every choice she made wasn't filtered through the question of what would be best for this tiny person growing inside her. Cassie pushed herself up. Her legs had gone numb from sitting. She steadied herself on the sink, looked at her reflection again. The marks on her throat looked darker now, more defined. She touched them gently. They were tender, sensitive, real. She had spent 4 years telling herself that Derek's temper was just stress, that the holes in walls were accidents, that the times he grabbed her arm too hard or shoved her during arguments or threw things that narrowly missed her head, those were isolated incidents. Mistakes, things that happened when pressure built up and needed release. She had never called it abuse. That word felt too big, too serious, too much like admitting she had made a terrible mistake in marrying him, but now there was a photo, proof, documentation, time-stamped and shared and commented on by 30,000 strangers who saw in one frozen moment what she had spent 4 years trying not to see. Her phone buzzed again. Another text from Nicole. I'm not leaving your driveway until I know you're okay. Cassie unlocked the bathroom door. Derek stood right there, waiting. His suit jacket was off, his tie gone. He looked tired, worried, almost vulnerable. Thank God. He reached for her. I was getting worried. She stepped past him, walked down the hallway to their bedroom, to the closet where she kept her overnight bag on the top shelf. What are you doing? Derek followed her. Cassie, what are you doing? She pulled down the bag, unzipped it, started pulling clothes from hangers. Baby, stop. Derek's hand closed around her wrist, firm, not painful, not yet. Where do you think you're going? To Nicole's. You're not going anywhere. We need to handle this together, as a team and as a couple. His grip tightened slightly. Running away makes you look guilty, makes us both look guilty. Cassie looked down at his hand on her wrist, at his fingers wrapped around her arm, at the way he held on just a little too tight. Let go, she said quietly. Not until you listen to me. Derek's voice took on that reasonable tone, the one that made her feel crazy for being upset. I love you. I love our baby. This whole thing is a nightmare, but we can wake up from it. Together. We post a statement. You say you tripped. I caught you. Bad angle in the photo. Stress and pregnancy making you emotional. We get ahead of this before it destroys everything we've built. You grabbed my throat at a wedding. I didn't grab. He stopped, breathed. Okay, yes, I put my hand on your throat, but not like they're saying, not to hurt you, to steady you, to keep you from falling. The photo makes it look worse than it was. There are bruises. Because you're pregnant, your skin is more sensitive. Everything bruises easier, you know that. His thumb rubbed circles on the inside of her wrist, almost gentle, almost tender. Come on, Cassie. You know me. You know I would never deliberately hurt you. The word deliberately hung in the air, doing all the work, carrying all the weight. Cassie pulled her arm free, zipped the bag, walked toward the bedroom door. Derek moved to block her, not touching, just there. A wall, an obstacle. If you walk out that door, he said slowly, if you leave me tonight of all nights, then you're telling the world that photo is accurate, that I'm an abuser, that our marriage is violent. Is that really what you want to do? I want to sleep somewhere I feel safe. The words came out before she could stop them, true and raw and cutting. Derek's face went white, then red, then carefully blank. Safe, he repeated. You don't feel safe in your own home, with your own husband, the father of your child. He laughed, sharp, bitter. Do you know how that sounds? Do you know what people will say when they hear you ran away from me? I'm not running away, you're just what? Taking a break? Getting some space? Protecting yourself from the man who's given you everything? His voice rose. This house, that car, your entire life. I built all of this for you, for us. And this is how you repay me? By making me look like some kind of monster on social media? I didn't post that photo. But you're acting like it's true. You're acting like you're scared of me, like I'm dangerous. Derek ran his hands through his hair. God, Cassie, after everything I've done for you, after everything we've been through, this is what you do? The baby kicked, hard enough to hurt. Cassie winced. Derek saw it. His whole posture changed, softened. Is the baby okay? He reached toward her belly. Did I stress you out? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. His hand hovered, not quite touching. This whole situation has me on edge. But you and the baby are what matters, nothing else. We'll figure this out. I promise. Just don't leave. Please don't leave. Footsteps pounded up the front porch. Someone knocked hard on the door. Cassie? Marcus's voice boomed through the house. Cassie, open up. Derek's face darkened. Did you call him? No. And then how does he? Derek pulled out his phone. The photo, of course. Everyone's seen the damn photo. Marcus knocked again. Harder. I'm not leaving until I see my sister. Go away, Derek shouted. This is a private matter. The hell it is, Marcus rattled the doorknob. Cassie, are you okay in there? Cassie pushed past Derek, walked through the hallway, through the living room to the front door. She opened it. Marcus stood on the porch, her big brother, 6'3" and broad-shouldered. His face showed everything. Anger, fear, relief, rage. Oh, thank God. He pulled her into a hug, careful of her belly, gentle despite his size. I saw the photo and He pulled back, looked at her throat, his jaw clenched. He marked you. It's not. Don't! Marcus's voice came out low, dangerous. Don't you dare make excuses for him. Derek appeared behind Cassie. This is my house. You need to leave. I'm not going anywhere without my sister. Your sister is my wife. She lives here, with me. And you have no right. I have every right. Marcus stepped closer. That's my baby sister. That's my nephew or niece she's carrying. And I'll be damned if I stand by and... Marcus, please. Cassie put her hand on his arm. I'm okay. You're not okay. Look at your neck. Look at what he did to you. Marcus glared at Derek over her head. In public? At a wedding, in front of dozens of witnesses. What does he do when nobody's watching? That's enough. Derek's voice went cold. Get out of my house before I call the police. Call them. Marcus pulled out his phone. I'll save you the trouble. Let's get this on record. Let's get those bruises documented. No. Cassie grabbed his phone. No police, please. She looked between them. Her brother and her husband, two men who loved her, or claimed to, two men who wanted to control what happened next. I just need a minute to think. Think at my place. Marcus kept his eyes on Derek. Pack a bag. Come stay with me and Jennifer. The kids would love to see their aunt. You can have the guest room, as long as you need. Derek laughed. Oh, that's perfect. Run to Big Brother. Let him tell you what to do, because God forbid you actually think for yourself. Watch it, Marcus warned. Or what? You'll hit me? Make yourself feel like a big man by beating up your sister's husband? Derek stepped closer to Cassie, possessive, claiming, she's not leaving. She's 7 months pregnant. She needs stability, routine, not more stress and drama. Cassie felt something crack inside her chest. Small, sharp, like ice breaking. I'm staying with Marcus tonight, she said. Derek's face went slack. What? Just tonight, She couldn't find words big enough. I need space, Mabhan. Derek repeated the word like it was foreign, incomprehensible. Your husband defends you from falling, gets vilified on social media, and you need space. Derek, fine. He held up his hands. Step back. Fine, go, run away. But don't expect me to keep defending you when you abandon me. Don't expect me to play the supportive husband when you make me look like the villain. Marcus took Cassie's bag from her hand. Let's go. They walked to Marcus's truck, a big Ford parked at the curb. Nicole's car sat right behind it. She got out as they approached. Cassie. Nicole's eyes were red. She had been crying. I was so worried. I'm okay. No, you're not. Nicole hugged her, hard. But you will be, I promise. Cassie climbed into Marcus's truck. The seat felt high, foreign. She buckled the seatbelt, adjusted it over her belly. Through the windshield, she could see Derek standing in the doorway, watching, his face unreadable, his posture rigid. Marcus started the engine, pulled away from the curb. Cassie looked back, at the house, at Derek, at 4 years of her life. The baby kicked. She put both hands on her belly, felt the movement, the life, the future. Her phone buzzed. Text from Derek. When you come to your senses, I'll be here. I love you, I love our baby. But you're making a huge mistake. Then another text. Actually, maybe space is good. Figure out if you want to be part of this marriage or if you want to be a single mother. Then another. I'm cutting off your credit cards. If you're not here, you're not spending my money. Cassie turned off her phone, leaned her head against the window, watched the streetlights pass by. Marcus drove in silence, smart enough not to push, not yet. They pulled up to his house, a two-story colonial in the suburbs, lights on in the windows. Safe, normal, real. Jennifer met them at the door, Marcus's wife, kind eyes and a gentle voice. "Oh, honey," she pulled Cassie inside. "Come on, let's get you comfortable." The guest room was small, clean. The bed had fresh sheets. The window looked out on the backyard where Marcus and Jennifer's kids played during the day. Cassie sat on the bed. The mattress dipped under her weight. Everything in her body hurt. Her feet, her back, her throat, her heart. Nicole had followed them over. She sat next to Cassie, took her hand. "Tell me," Nicole said gently. "Tell me everything." So Cassie did. She told Nicole about the wedding, about Derek's drinking, about trying to leave early, about his hand on her throat. But then she kept going. She told Nicole about 6 months ago, about the door Derek pushed closed while she was standing behind it, about the bruise on her arm that she said came from bumping into the counter. She told her about a year ago, about falling down the stairs, except she didn't fall. Derek shoved her during an argument about his secretary, about the time she spent at work, about the text messages Cassie saw. She told her about 2 years ago, about the time Derek grabbed her wrist so hard it bruised, because she questioned why he spent $50,000 without telling her. She told her about 3 years ago, about their honeymoon, about the first time Derek screamed in her face, because she wanted to skip a business dinner, because she was tired, because she wanted one day to just be about them. She told her about 4 years ago, about when they were dating, about the time Derek punched the wall next to her head, because she mentioned a male coworker's name, because Derek thought she was flirting, because jealousy was love, right? Nicole listened, tears running down her face, hand gripping Cassie's. When Cassie finished, the words ran out, the confessions, the truths, the things she had kept locked away for 4 years. "I told myself it was stress from work," Cassie whispered. "The company was growing. He had so much pressure. I thought if I could just be better, more supportive, less demanding. If I could just—" "Stop," Nicole's voice came out fierce. "You could have been perfect, and it wouldn't have mattered, did that? Because it was never about you. It was always about control." The words hit like truth. Clean, sharp, undeniable. Cassie lay back on the bed, stared at the ceiling, put her hands on her belly. "What do I do?" she asked the ceiling. The room, the universe. "You rest," Nicole said. "Tonight you just rest. Tomorrow we figure out the next step." Nicole left. Marcus and Jennifer went to bed. The house grew quiet. Cassie lay in the dark, wide awake, 7 months pregnant, throat bruised, marriage exposed, life unraveling. Her phone turned back on, vibrated continuously with messages, calls, notifications. She ignored them all except one, from a number she didn't recognize. "Hi, Cassie, this is Jenna Hartley. I'm the photographer from tonight. I need to talk to you. I have more photos. Please call me when you can. I think you need to see them." Cassie stared at the message, at the promise and threat it contained. More photos, evidence, proof. She put the phone face down on the nightstand, closed her eyes, tried to sleep. The baby kicked, regular, steady, like a heartbeat, like hope, like a reason to keep going. Outside, the world kept spinning. The photo kept spreading. The comments kept coming. Her life kept changing, whether she was ready or not. Morning came too early. Sunlight pushed through the guest room curtains. Cassie woke to the sound of children's voices downstairs. Marcus and Jennifer's kids getting ready for school. Normal life continuing around her while hers fell apart. She rolled onto her side. Her body felt heavy. Pregnancy heavy, yes, but also something else. The weight of truth, the burden of decisions waiting to be made. Her phone showed 43 missed calls, 62 text messages. The numbers kept climbing. She ignored them, pushed herself upright. caught her reflection in the mirror across the room. The bruises had deepened overnight, purple now, unmistakable, 5 distinct marks, a thumb, 4 fingers. Derek's hand preserved on her skin like a signature. Someone knocked softly on the door. "Come in," Cassie called. Nicole entered carrying a mug of tea. She had stayed the night too. Slept on Marcus and Jennifer's couch, her hair stuck up on one side, her makeup from yesterday smudged under her eyes. "Morning." Nicole set the tea on the nightstand. "How did you sleep?" "I didn't." "Yeah, I figured." Nicole sat on the edge of the bed. "Derek's been calling Marcus, demanding he bring you home, threatening legal action, making a lot of noise." "That sounds like Derek." "He also released a statement. Went out an hour ago. It's all over the internet." Nicole pulled out her phone. "Want to see?" Cassie nodded. Nicole read aloud. "I deeply regret the events of last night. What appeared in that photo was me attempting to steady my pregnant wife, who was experiencing dizziness and fatigue. The angle of the photograph created a misleading impression of what was a moment of concern and care. My wife and I are deeply in love and expecting our first child together. We ask for privacy during this difficult time as we deal with the stress of having a private moment exploited on social media. I'm seeking counseling to better manage stress and communication in my marriage. I love my wife and unborn child more than anything." The words landed wrong, true and false at the same time. Yes, Cassie had been tired. Yes, the moment was private. Yes, Derek probably did believe he loved her. But the rest, the misleading impression, the steadying hand, the concern and care, all lies wrapped in careful phrasing, all manipulation dressed up as an explanation. "People are buying it," Nicole said quietly. "Half the comments are sympathetic to him now, saying the photo was taken out of context, that social media jumps to conclusions, that men get vilified unfairly." Cassie took the phone, scrolled through comments. Finally, someone sees reason. "The media destroys people based on one bad photo. Pregnant women do get dizzy. My wife was the same way. Innocent until proven guilty. One photo doesn't tell the whole story." But also, look at her neck. Those are fingerprints. My ex used to make statements like this. Classic abuser playbook. She needs to run while she still can. Been there, lived that, praying for her. Cassie handed the phone back, picked up her tea. The warmth felt good against her palms. "Nicole." She stared into the mug, at the steam rising. "Can I ask you something?" "Anything." "How long have you known?" Nicole was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice came out thick. "I didn't know, not for sure, but I suspected. For a while now." "How long?" "Maybe a year, maybe more." Nicole twisted her hands together. "You started making excuses for him, defending him when he was rude to servers or snapped at you in public. You stopped wearing short sleeves in summer, started canceling plans last minute, seemed nervous when your phone rang, and it was Derek calling." She paused. "I wanted to say something, but you seemed so determined to make it work, and I didn't have proof, just a feeling. I would have denied it anyway." "I know, that's what scared me." Nicole reached over, squeezed Cassie's hand. "I'm sorry I didn't push harder. I'm sorry I didn't—" "You couldn't have done anything. I wasn't ready to hear it." Cassie set down the tea. "I'm not sure I'm ready now, but I don't think I have a choice anymore." Her phone rang. Unknown number. Cassie almost ignored it, almost let it go to voicemail like all the others. But something made her answer. "Hello?" "Cassie Morrison?" A woman's voice, professional, warm. "Yes?" "My name is Jenna Hartley. I'm the photographer from last night. I texted you. I don't know if you saw it." Cassie's heart picked up speed. "I saw it." "Good. Listen, I know this is probably terrible timing, but I really need to meet with you. I have photos from last night that I think you should see before they go anywhere else." "What kind of photos?" "The whole sequence. 30 images, from before to after, time-stamped, unedited. They show exactly what happened." Jenna's voice softened. "I've been a wedding photographer for 7 years, Cassie. I've seen this before. I know what abuse looks like, and I'm not going to let your husband's PR team twist the narrative." Cassie looked at Nicole. mouthed the photographer. Nicole nodded, encouraging. When? Cassie asked. Today, as soon as possible. Can you meet me somewhere? Where? Coffee shop? Your choice. Bring someone you trust if that makes you feel safer. Jenna stopped. I need you to see these photos. You need to know what I captured. They agreed on a cafe 2 towns over. Noon. Anonymous enough that they wouldn't be recognized. Or at least that was the hope. Cassie ended the call, set down her phone, looked at Nicole. I need to see them, Cassie said. I need to know what's in those photos. Then we go see them. Nicole stood. But first, you need to eat something. And Marcus said he wants to talk to you about something. They went downstairs. The kids had left for school. Jennifer was at work. Marcus sat at the kitchen table with his laptop open. Morning, son, he said, not quite looking at her. How's your neck? Cassie touched it automatically. Hurts. Good. Good? Yeah, because you need to document it. Marcus turned his laptop toward her. On the screen was a website for Victoria Brennan, family law attorney. I called her this morning. She can see you today, before you meet the photographer. Marcus, don't. His voice came out firm. Don't tell me you're not ready. Don't tell me you need more time. Don't tell me you want to work it out with Derek. Because here's what I know. He put his hands on you at a wedding, in front of witnesses, while you're 7 months pregnant, and that's just what people saw. What does he do when nobody's watching? Cassie sat down, hard. The chair scraped against the tile floor. Marcus leaned forward. When we were kids, remember that bully? The one who followed you home from school? Pushed you around home? Tommy Reese. Right, Tommy Reese. And what did I tell you? That bullies only understand one language. Exactly. Consequences. Tommy kept pushing until Dad called his parents and threatened to go to the school board. Then Tommy backed off. Marcus gestured at her neck. Derek's a bully, a grown-up, suit-wearing, CEO bully, but still a bully, and the only thing that will stop him is consequences. He's the father of my baby. He's also the man who choked you at a wedding. Marcus's jaw tightened, and before you say he was steadying you or it was an accident or any of the other garbage, he's probably fed you. I was there when you fell down the stairs last year. You called me crying, said Derek pushed you during a fight. Cassie's breath caught. I never said that. Not directly, but I heard it in your voice, in the way you wouldn't let me come over, in how you suddenly stopped mentioning Derek for weeks after. Marcus closed his laptop. I should have done something then. I should have forced the issue, but I didn't want to overstep, didn't want to cause problems in your marriage if I was wrong. But I wasn't wrong, was I? No, Cassie whispered. You weren't wrong. Nicole put her hand on Cassie's shoulder, supportive, grounding. See the lawyer, Marcus said. Get advice. You don't have to file anything, but know your options. Know your rights, especially regarding the baby. Derek's already talking about custody, Cassie heard herself say. He texted last night, said if I'm not home, I'm choosing to be a single mother. See? Marcus stood, paced. That's manipulation. That's control. He's already trying to use the baby as leverage. He stopped, looked at her. Cassie, I love you. You're my baby sister, and I will support whatever you decide to do. But please, please talk to a lawyer. At least give yourself information, knowledge, options. Victoria Brennan's office sat in a renovated Victorian house downtown. Tasteful, professional. The walls were painted soft gray. The furniture looked expensive but comfortable. Victoria herself was in her mid-40s, tailored suit, kind eyes, no-nonsense demeanor. She shook Cassie's hand, didn't flinch at the bruises on her neck, just nodded once. Acknowledgement without judgment. Thank you for seeing me on short notice, Cassie said. I saw the photo, Victoria replied. I made time. They sat in Victoria's office, large desk, 2 chairs, windows overlooking the street. Victoria pulled out a yellow legal pad, clicked her pen. Tell me everything, she said. So Cassie did. Again, the wedding, the throat grab, the viral photo, but also the history, 4 years of escalation, 4 years of incidents that she explained away. 4 years of telling herself it wasn't that bad. Victoria took notes, asked questions, specific ones, legal ones. Did he ever threaten you verbally? Yes. Said I was nothing without him, that I'd never make it on my own, that I was lucky he put up with me. Did he control finances? Yes. Joint account, but he monitors everything, questions purchases, gets angry if I spend money without asking. Did he isolate you from friends and family? Not directly, but he always had reasons why I shouldn't see certain people. Made plans difficult. Got him upset if I went out without him. Has he been violent toward objects? Walls, doors, furniture? Yes. Punched holes in walls 3 times. Threw his phone and shattered it. Broke dishes. Slammed doors so hard they cracked. Has he ever been violent toward you before last night? Cassie listed them. All the incidents. All the times she made excuses. All the moments she should have left but didn't. Victoria wrote it all down. When Cassie finished, Victoria set down her pen. I've been doing this for 20 years, Victoria said. I've seen hundreds of cases like yours, and I'm going to tell you something important. This is textbook escalation. Emotional awakening, financial control, property destruction, then physical violence. And now, because you're pregnant, the stakes are even higher. Because pregnancy changes the power dynamic. You're vulnerable, dependent, he knows that. And abusers often escalate during pregnancy because their partner can't leave as easily. Victoria leaned forward. The fact that he choked you in public, at a wedding surrounded by witnesses, that tells me he's losing control. The mask is slipping, and that's when things get most dangerous. Dangerous how? Statistically, the most dangerous time for a woman in an abusive relationship is when she tries to leave, or when she's pregnant. You're both. Victoria's voice stayed gentle but firm. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to give you facts, information, so you can make informed decisions. What are my options? Several. First, you can file for a restraining order based on last night's incident. The bruises are documented evidence. The photo is evidence. Witness statements would support it. If I do that, Derek loses his mind. Probably, but he loses it from a legally enforced distance. Victoria made a note. Second, you can file for separation. Not divorce yet, just legal separation. That establishes separate households and can include temporary custody arrangements. The baby isn't born yet. Exactly. Which means we can establish terms now before you're dealing with a newborn and postpartum and all the chaos of new motherhood. Victoria clicked her pen. Third option, you go back home. Try counseling. Give Derek a chance to change. Do you think he'll change? Victoria was quiet for a moment. Then she said very carefully, I think people can change if they want to, but wanting to change and actually changing are two different things. And in my experience, men who choke their pregnant wives at weddings don't usually become model husbands through couples counseling. The words hung in the air, honest, brutal, true. What would you do? Cassie asked. If I was your sister, your daughter, what would you tell me to do? I'd tell you that you deserve better. I'd tell you that your baby deserves a home without violence. I'd tell you that leaving is hard, but staying is harder. Victoria paused. But I'm not going to tell you what to do. This is your life, your choice, your decision. I'm just here to give you options and support whatever you choose. Cassie looked down at her hands, at her wedding ring, white gold and diamonds, a promise made 4 years ago, a promise broken last night in front of 30 witnesses and a camera. I need to think, she said. Of course. Take your time. But Cassie? Victoria waited until she looked up. Don't take too much time. Because every day you stay, you're teaching your daughter or son that this is what love looks like, that this is what marriage should be, that this is acceptable. Is that the lesson you want them to learn? The question hit like a punch, clean, true, devastating. No, the answer was no. She didn't want her baby growing up thinking love came with bruises. That marriage included fear, that this was normal. Can I ask you one more thing? Cassie said. Anything. The viral photo, Derek's statement, people taking sides. Does that affect anything legally? It can. Public opinion influences jury pools if this goes to trial. But honestly, Victoria smiled slightly. That photo is probably the best thing that could have happened to you. I know that sounds terrible, but it's proof, it's documentation. It's evidence that can't be explained away or dismissed. Derek can spin it all he wants, but that image shows exactly what happened, and that's powerful. Cassie stood, shook Victoria's hand. Thank you. Call me anytime, day or night. I mean that. Victoria walked her to the door. And Cassie, document everything from now on. Every text, every call, every interaction. You're building a case even if you don't file anything yet. Just in case. Just in case. The words followed Cassie out of the office, into Nicole's car, all the way to the cafe where Jenna Hartley waited with 30 photos that would show Cassie truths she had spent 4 years trying not to see. The cafe sat tucked between a bookstore and a yoga studio. Small, quiet, the kind of place where people worked on laptops and pretended not to listen to other people's conversations. Jenna Hartley sat in the back corner, a laptop open in front of her, 2 cups of coffee already empty beside it. She looked up when Cassie and Nicole walked in. Thank you for coming, Jenna said. She stood, gestured to the empty chairs at her table. I know this must be overwhelming. Cassie sat down. Her body felt strange, too light and too heavy at once, like she was floating and sinking simultaneously. You said you have photos, Cassie said. No small talk, no preamble, just the truth, please. I do. Jenna turned her laptop around. 32 images total from last night. I want you to see them before I do anything with them. What are you planning to do with them? That depends on you. Jenna's voice stayed steady, calm. But first, I need you to understand something. I've been photographing weddings for 7 years. I've taken probably 100,000 photos. I've seen couples fight. I've seen tension. I've seen drama. But what I saw last night, she paused. That was different. She clicked a button. The first photo appeared. It showed the reception, people dancing, Derek standing by the bar, Cassie visible in the background, her hand on her belly, her face tired. This was about 20 minutes before, Jenna said. She clicked again. This is 15 minutes before, Derek leaning toward Cassie, his face close to hers, her posture defensive, pulling back. Click. 10 minutes, Derek grabbing another drink. His face flushed, Cassie trying to move toward the exit, his hand on her arm, stopping her. Click. 5 minutes. Them talking, his mouth moving, her face showing something between fear and resignation. Now here's the sequence. Jenna's voice went quiet. I want you to really look at these. She clicked through them, one after another, a story told in frozen moments. Derek reaching for Cassie, her stepping back, his hands shooting out, fingers extending, making contact, wrapping around her throat, tightening. Cassie's hands flying to her belly, her face changing, fear, pain, shock. Derek's face showing rage, then sudden awareness. The flash going off, people turning, his hand dropping, him reaching for her again. Different, apologetic. Her stumbling back, Nicole rushing over. Rachel's mother approaching. 32 photos, each one time-stamped, each one capturing a second of truth. The sequence doesn't lie, Jenna said. You can see him grab you. You can see the grip. You can see your reaction. This wasn't steadying. This wasn't helping. This was violence. Cassie stared at the screen, at herself, at the woman in the burgundy dress with the swollen belly and the frightened eyes, and the husband's hand around her throat. She looked like a stranger, and also like someone she recognized completely. There's more, Jenna said. She opened a different folder. I also photographed Morrison Tech's holiday party last December. Remember? Cassie nodded. She remembered. Derek had insisted she come even though she was exhausted, said it was important for the company, for appearances. Jenna pulled up another set of photos, Derek and his assistant, a woman named Madison, 26 years old, beautiful in a sleek black dress. The photos showed them together, standing close, too close, his hand on her waist, both of them heading toward Derek's office. The timestamp said 10:23 p.m. Another photo showed them emerging an hour later, her dress wrinkled, his tie askew. I debated showing you these, Jenna said. They're not my business. They're not relevant to last night. But then I thought, you deserve to know everything. Cassie couldn't look away. Derek and Madison. Madison and Derek. An affair, or at least a strong suggestion of one. 4 years. 4 years she had given him. 4 years of explaining away his temper. 4 years of walking on eggshells. 4 years of telling herself he loved her despite everything. And he had been cheating too. Why, Cassie heard herself ask. Her voice came out rough, scraped raw. Why are you showing me all this? Jenna closed the laptop, looked directly at Cassie. Her eyes were bright, wet. My sister, she said. Her name was Sarah. She was married to a man a lot like your husband. Successful, charming, gave her a beautiful life, and beat her behind closed doors. One night he went too far, and she died. Jenna's voice cracked. I was a teenager. I couldn't do anything, couldn't save her, couldn't even see it happening because he was so good at hiding it, at making her hide it. I'm so sorry, Nicole whispered. When I saw that photo I took of you last night, Jenna continued, I saw my sister. I saw her face, her fear, her resignation, and I thought, not again. I can't watch another woman go through this and do nothing. She pushed the laptop toward Cassie. So here's what I'm offering. These photos are yours, all of them. The sequence from last night, the holiday party, everything. You can use them however you want. Give them to a lawyer, keep them private, post them online, whatever you need. Why would you do that? Cassie asked. You could sell these to tabloids, make money, get famous. Because my sister is dead. Jenna's words came out flat, final. And if these photos can help keep you alive, help keep you safe, then that's worth more than any amount of money. Cassie looked at Nicole, at Jenna, at two women who barely knew her, offering support that Derek, her husband, the father of her baby, had never given. I don't know what to do, Cassie admitted. Everyone's telling me to leave, to file charges, to protect myself and the baby. And I know they're right. Logically, I know, but emotionally, she stopped, tried to find words for the tangle in her chest. I still love him, parts of him, the man I married, the man he was before everything went wrong. And I keep thinking maybe if I just... Stop, Nicole said firmly. No, you're not doing that. You're not blaming yourself. You're not making excuses for him. But no buts. Listen to me. Nicole grabbed Cassie's hand. I've been your best friend for 12 years, since college, since we were 18-year-old freshmen who didn't know anything about anything. And in all those years, you know what I've watched? I've watched you shrink, get smaller, quieter, more apologetic. Derek did that, not you. Him. She's right, Jenna said. I photograph couples all the time. I see how they interact, how they look at each other, how they touch. And when I saw you two last night, she shook her head. Even before the grab, I saw you flinch when he reached for you. I saw you monitoring his drink intake. I saw you trying to manage his mood. That's not a partnership. That's survival. The words hit truth, deep and resonant, because yes, that's exactly what it was. Survival. 4 years of surviving Derek's moods, his temper, his control, not living, surviving. I need air, Cassie said. She stood too quickly. The chair scraped. Her vision swam. Nicole caught her arm. Whoa, easy. Let me help. They walked outside. The afternoon sun felt too bright, too normal. The world kept spinning while Cassie's fell apart. So she leaned against the brick wall, put her hands on her belly, felt the baby move, strong, healthy, unaware of the chaos swirling around them. I'm 30 years old, Cassie said to the sky, to herself, to the universe. I'm about to have a baby. I'm 7 months pregnant with a man who choked me at a wedding and probably cheated on me with his assistant. And I'm standing outside a random cafe trying to figure out how my life got here. It got here, Nicole said, because Derek is an abuser. Not because you did anything wrong, Not because you weren't good enough, not because you didn't try hard enough, because he chose violence. He chose control. He chose to be the kind of man who puts his hands on his pregnant wife. People are defending him online, saying I provoked him, saying pregnant women are emotional, saying one photo doesn't tell the whole story. Screw those people. They don't know the whole story, but we do. Jenna does, Victoria does, and most importantly, you do. Nicole stepped in front of her, forced eye contact. You know what happened. You know what he is. You have known for a while, haven't you? The question hung there, heavy, demanding honesty. Yes, Cassie whispered. I've known. I just didn't want to admit it. Her phone buzzed. Text from Derek. I miss you. Please come home. We can work this out. I'll do whatever it takes. Counseling, therapy, whatever you need. Just don't give up on us. Then another text. I talked to my lawyer. He says if you don't come home soon, it looks like abandonment, especially while pregnant. Could affect custody. Just FYI. There it was. The threat wrapped in concern. The manipulation dressed up as information. Cassie showed Nicole the texts. Nicole's face went red. He's threatening you. Using the baby. That's... She stopped. Breathed. Okay, new plan. You're not going back there. Not tonight. Not until you have a solid plan in place. Where do I go? I can't stay with Marcus forever. Then you stay with me. Or we find you an apartment. Or a hotel. I don't care. But you don't go back to that house until you're ready. Until you're safe. Nicole pulled out her phone. I'm calling Victoria. We need to know what Derek can and can't do legally. What abandonment actually means. What custody looks like when there's documented abuse. Wait, Cassie grabbed Nicole's hand. Before you call anyone else, before we take any more steps, I need to do something. What? I need to see them again. All the photos, and I need to accept something. Accept what? Cassie looked at her reflection in the cafe window. At the woman with bruises on her neck and a baby in her belly and a choice to make. That the man I married is not the man I'm married to now, that maybe he never was, that I fell in love with a mask, and the person underneath? She touched her throat, felt the tender skin, the proof. The person underneath is dangerous. They went back inside, back to Jenna's table, back to the laptop full of truth. Cassie looked through all the photos again, slowly this time, really seeing them. The sequence of violence, the evidence of an affair, the documentation of a marriage built on lies. Can you send these to me? Cassie asked. All of them? Of course. Jenna pulled out a flash drive, started copying files. But Cassie, can I say one more thing? Please. You're going to have moments where you doubt yourself, where you think maybe it wasn't that bad, where you remember the good times and wonder if you're overreacting. When that happens, Jenna tapped the laptop screen. Look at these photos. Look at your face. Look at his hand. Remember that this is real, that your instincts are right, that you're not crazy or dramatic or overreacting. You're surviving. The flash drive finished copying. Jenna handed it over. Such a small thing. A tiny piece of plastic and metal containing evidence that would change everything. Cassie closed her fist around it, felt the edges press into her palm. Thank you, she said, meaning it, feeling it. They left the cafe, walked to Nicole's car. Cassie got in the passenger seat, buckled up. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, almost let it go to voicemail. But something made her pick up. Is this Cassie Morrison? A woman's voice, professional but kind. Yes. My name is Emily Parker. I'm a reporter with Channel 7 News. I was wondering if you'd be willing to do an interview about what happened at the wedding. I promise we'll handle it sensitively. Your story, your truth. No ambush questions, no gotcha journalism, just a chance for you to speak for yourself. Cassie looked at Nicole, reporter. Nicole nodded, encouraging. I need to think about it, Cassie said. Of course, take your time. But Cassie, Emily paused. Your husband did his interview this morning, gave his side. Maybe you deserve a chance to give yours. After they hung up, Cassie sat in silence. Processing, absorbing. Derek had gone on TV, told his version, controlled the narrative, made himself the victim. Maybe it was time she did the same. Not to fight back, not for revenge, but for truth. For the women in those comments who saw themselves in that photo. For her baby who deserved a mother who stood up for herself. For the woman she used to be before Derek taught her to be small. I want to do the interview, Cassie said. Are you sure? No, but I'm doing it anyway. She looked at Nicole. Derek's been telling his story. The board, his lawyers, the media. Everyone's hearing his version where he's the misunderstood husband and I'm the hormonal pregnant wife. Maybe it's time they hear mine. Nicole smiled, small but real. Okay then, let's do this. They drove back to Marcus's house, the place that had become a temporary sanctuary. A pause between her old life and whatever came next. Marcus was waiting on the porch. His face showed relief when he saw her. You're okay? I saw the photos, all of them, the sequence, the timestamps, She stopped. Everything. And I'm not going back. The words came out steady, certain. Not to that house, not to Derek, not to pretending everything's fine when it's not. Marcus pulled her into a hug, careful of her belly, protective. Good girl, he said into her hair. Good. Inside, Cassie called Emily Parker back, agreed to the interview, scheduled it for tomorrow. On camera, on record, her story, her truth. Then she called Victoria, made another appointment, started the process of filing for a restraining order and legal separation. Then she sat in the guest room and opened her laptop, created a new email account Derek didn't know about, uploaded all of Jenna's photos to a cloud storage, backed them up 3 times. Evidence, documentation, protection. The baby kicked. Strong, regular, demanding. Cassie put both hands on her belly, felt the movement, the life, the future she was fighting for. We're going to be okay, she whispered. I promise. No matter what happens, we're going to be okay. Her phone buzzed. Text from Derek. I see you talked to a reporter. Really? You're going to drag our private life onto TV after everything I've given you? You're going to humiliate me like this? Then another. Fine. If that's how you want to play it. My lawyer says I have rights too. The baby's mine as much as yours. We'll see who the courts side with when you're the one who abandoned the marriage. Then another. I love you, but you're making me do this. You're forcing my hand. Everything that happens now is on you. Classic Derek. Love and threats in the same breath. Apology and blame intertwined. Cassie turned off her phone, set it face down on the nightstand. Tomorrow she would tell her story. Tomorrow she would start fighting back. Tomorrow she would begin the long process of unraveling 4 years of lies. But tonight she would rest. She would feel her baby kick. She would accept the support Marcus and Nicole offered. She would believe, maybe for the first time in 4 years, that she deserved better than a man who loved her with his fists. Outside her window, the sun set. The sky turned orange and pink and purple. Beautiful, peaceful. A reminder that endings could be gentle, that transitions didn't always have to hurt. Tomorrow would come whether she was ready or not. But for now, in this moment, in this room, Cassie Morrison chose herself, chose safety, chose truth. And that was enough. The television studio felt cold. Bright lights glared down, cameras pointed like accusatory fingers. Cassie sat in a chair that was too hard, too uncomfortable. Her burgundy maternity dress, not the one from the wedding, stretched over her belly. Emily Parker sat across from her. Mid-30s, kind eyes, professional but warm. We're going to take this at your pace, Emily said before they started. If you need to stop, we stop. If you need water, we get water. If something's too much, we don't use it, okay? Cassie nodded. Her hands shook slightly. She laced her fingers together, tried to breathe. Nicole stood off to the side. Marcus, too. Both of them there. Supporting, present. The camera operator counted down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm here with Cassie Morrison, Emily began. Cassie, thank you for agreeing to speak with us. Thank you for having me. Let's start with what everyone saw in that photo. Can you tell us what happened that night? In your own words. Cassie had practiced this. In her head, in the mirror, with Nicole listening. But now, with the camera recording, with her words about to become permanent in public, everything felt different. "We were at a friend's wedding," she started. Her voice came out steadier than she expected. "I was tired. I'm 7 months pregnant. My feet were swollen. My back hurt. I asked my husband if we could sit down for a few minutes. He said no. He said I was embarrassing him." Emily listened, didn't interrupt, just nodded encouragement. "I tried to explain that I just needed a short break, that the baby was kicking, that I was uncomfortable. He got angry, told me I was using the pregnancy as an excuse, that I was being dramatic, that I needed to stop being weak." Cassie paused. "When I touched his arm, he grabbed my throat." "He grabbed your throat," Emily repeated. "Not to steady you, not to catch you if you fell. No, to intimidate me, to punish me for arguing, for not doing what he wanted." Cassie touched her neck. The bruises were fading but still visible. "I'm not going to lie and say it was a misunderstanding. I'm not going to protect him anymore. What happened in that photo is exactly what it looks like. My husband put his hand around my throat while I was 7 months pregnant, at a wedding, in front of dozens of people, because I asked to sit down." The words came easier now, flowing, unstoppable. "I want to be clear about something," Cassie continued. "I loved my husband. I believe I still love parts of who I thought he was. But love doesn't mean accepting violence. Staying doesn't mean I was weak. And leaving doesn't mean I'm strong. It just means I finally chose myself and my baby." "How long has the abuse been going on?" Emily asked gently. 4 years, since we were dating. It started small, jealousy that I thought was romantic, controlling behavior that I thought meant he cared. Then it escalated, holes in walls, broken dishes, grabbing my arm, pushing me, screaming in my face, always followed by apologies, always followed by promises to change, always followed by a period of calm before it started again. "Why didn't you leave sooner?" It was the question everyone asked, or perhaps the question that implied it was her fault for staying, her failure for not seeing, her weakness for enduring. But Cassie had thought about this. Had Victoria helped her understand it? Had Nicole validated? Had Marcus accepted? "Because leaving an abusive relationship is complicated," she said. "It's not as simple as just walking out the door. There's emotional manipulation, financial control, fear of what he'll do if I try to leave. And yes, love, because abusers aren't monsters all the time. Sometimes they're charming and loving and exactly the person you fell in love with. That's what makes it so hard. You keep hoping that person will come back. That version will stay." "But that person never really existed," Emily said softly. "No, I don't think he did. I think I fell in love with a mask. And the man underneath?" Cassie touched her throat again. "The man underneath is dangerous." They talked for 20 minutes, about the pattern of abuse, about Derek's need for control, about how pregnancy changed the dynamic, about the other women from Morrison Tech who had come forward with similar stories, about the company's role in covering up Derek's behavior. Emily showed the photos on screen, the sequence Jenna captured, time-stamped, undeniable. "What do you want people to know?" Emily asked as they wrapped up. Cassie thought about this, about all the women watching who saw themselves in her story, who recognized the pattern, who made excuses for their own partner's behavior. "I want people to know that it doesn't matter how much money he makes, how charming he is in public, how much he apologizes. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. I wish I had." She paused. "And for anyone watching who sees their own relationship in my story, you're not crazy. You're not overreacting. Your instincts are right, and you deserve better. You deserve to be loved without fear, without violence, without walking on eggshells waiting for the next explosion." "Thank you for your bravery," Emily said, "for speaking out." "I'm not brave," Cassie replied. "I'm just done being silent." The camera stopped recording. The lights dimmed. Emily stood, shook Cassie's hand. "That was powerful," Emily said. "Really powerful. It'll air tonight at 6. At 6, in 4 hours. The entire city would hear her story, see her face, know her truth. Derek would see it too." They drove back to Marcus's house in silence. Cassie felt drained, empty, like she had poured herself out onto that camera and had nothing left. Her phone buzzed continuously. She had turned it back on after the interview. Mistake. Derek had called 17 times, left 9 voicemails, sent 32 texts. They started concerned. Baby, please pick up. We need to talk about this interview. Don't do something you'll regret. Then angry. You're really going to trash me on TV? Make me look like a monster? After I gave you everything? Then threatening. My lawyer says this is defamation. You better have proof of everything you're claiming. Then desperate. Please, I'm begging you, don't air that interview. We can work this out privately. Don't make this public. Don't destroy me. Finally, you did this. You forced me to protect myself. Remember that. Cassie showed the messages to Victoria at her office that afternoon. He's spiraling, Victoria said. She printed out screenshots, added them to a growing file. Keep documenting, save everything. This pattern of escalation is actually helpful for our case. Helpful how? Because it shows his true character, the controlling behavior, the threats, the manipulation. Judges see this all the time. They know what it means. Victoria closed the file. Derek's worst enemy right now is himself. He's making our case for us. What happens after the interview airs? Hard to say. Public opinion will shift. Some people will support you more. Others will double down on defending Derek. The company will probably have to respond. The board might take action. Victoria paused. And Derek will likely escalate, either with legal threats or personal ones. We need to be prepared. I filed for the restraining order? Yes, hearing is scheduled for next week. With the photo, the bruises, your testimony, and now this interview, I'm confident we'll get it. Cassie nodded, felt the baby kick, put her hand on the spot. What if he tries to take the baby? The fear that had been living in her chest finally found words. What if the courts side with him? Give him custody? That's extremely unlikely. You're the primary caregiver. You're pregnant. You've documented abuse. Derek has no parenting experience. And most importantly, Victoria smiled slightly. Family courts prioritize the mother-infant bond, especially with newborns. Derek would have to prove you're unfit. And everything we have shows you're doing exactly what a good mother does, protecting your child from violence. The words helped, slightly, but fear still lived in Cassie's bones. Fear that Derek would find a way, that money and power and lawyers could twist reality, that she would lose her baby to the man who put his hands on her throat. At 6 o'clock, they gathered in Marcus's living room. His kids were at a friend's house. Jennifer made popcorn out of nervous habit. They all sat together, waiting. The interview opened with the viral photo, then cut to Emily's introduction, then to Cassie's face on screen. She looked different on camera, smaller, younger, more vulnerable, but also stronger, clearer, present in a way she hadn't been in years. They watched in silence. Nicole held Cassie's hand. Marcus sat forward, intent. Jennifer dabbed at her eyes. When it ended, when Cassie's final words about deserving better faded out, nobody spoke right away. Then Marcus said, "I'm proud of you, Cass." And that broke something open. Cassie started crying, deep, wrenching, sobs that came from 4 years of holding back, 4 years of staying silent, 4 years of making herself small. Nicole held her, let her cry, didn't try to fix it or stop it, just witnessed. When Cassie finally caught her breath, when the tears slowed, she said, "What if I made it worse? What if Derek—" "Stop," Marcus's voice came firm. "You told the truth. That's never wrong. Whatever Derek does now is on him, not you." Cassie's phone started buzzing. Non-stop. Text after text, call after call. She looked at the screen. Messages poured in. From friends she hadn't heard from in years, from coworkers, from strangers, from women sharing their own stories, from people offering support. But also from Derek's family, from his friends, from people defending him. Patricia, Derek's mother, left a scathing voicemail. "How dare you? How dare you go on television and lie about my son after everything he's given you? This is how you repay him? By destroying his career? His reputation? I always knew you were selfish. Always knew you weren't good enough for him. But this, her voice broke with anger. I hope you're happy. I hope destroying a good man makes you feel powerful. Because when the truth comes out, and it will, everyone will see what you really are. A manipulator, a liar, a woman who trapped a successful man with a pregnancy and now wants to take everything from him. Cassie deleted the message, blocked the number. Another call came in, this one from James Porter, the board member from Morrison Tech. Ms. Morrison, this is James Porter. I'm on the board of directors at your husband's company, or I should say at Derek Morrison's former company. The board just held an emergency meeting. We voted to remove Derek as CEO effective immediately. We wanted you to know. And we wanted to apologize for not seeing this sooner, for not protecting the women who came forward before. He paused. You're very brave. Thank you. Former CEO Derek had just lost his company, the empire he built, his identity, his power, because of one photo, one interview, one woman saying enough. Nicole saw Cassie's face. What is it? They fired him. The board voted him out. Good, Marcus said, no hesitation. He deserves worse. Cassie's phone rang again. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Cassie Morrison. Yes? This is Amanda Foster. I used to work at Morrison Tech. I was one of Derek's victims. The woman's voice shook slightly. I just saw your interview, and I wanted to say thank you. I signed an NDA, took a payout, stayed silent. But watching you speak up, she stopped, breathed. You gave me courage. I'm breaking my NDA. I'm going public with what Derek did to me, and I'm not the only one. 3 of us are meeting with our lawyers tomorrow. We're done protecting him. After they hung up, Cassie sat in stunned silence. 3 more women, 3 more victims, all coming forward because she spoke up. The ripple effect, the power of one voice breaking the silence, permission for others to do the same. You did that, Nicole said softly. You made that possible. But Cassie didn't feel victorious. She felt exhausted, overwhelmed, afraid of what Derek would do now that his entire world was collapsing. That night, lying in the guest room bed, Cassie couldn't sleep. The baby kicked continuously, like sensing her anxiety, her fear. At 3 in the morning, her phone buzzed. Text from Derek. I watched your interview. I saw what you did. You took everything from me, my company, my reputation, my future, all because you couldn't handle one difficult moment at a wedding. I hope you're satisfied. I hope destroying me was worth it, because this isn't over, not by a long shot. That baby is mine too, and I will fight for my rights. I will fight for custody. I will make sure everyone sees what you really are. A liar, a manipulator, a woman who used a photo to destroy a good man. Sleep well, Cassie. You're going to need your rest for what's coming. Cassie read the message, then read it again, then showed it to Nicole, who had insisted on sleeping on the guest room floor. That's a threat, Nicole said. I know. You need to show Victoria. Add it to the file. I will. But first, Cassie did something else. She opened her laptop, navigated to a support group website Victoria had recommended for survivors of domestic violence. She created an account, posted her story, not for sympathy, not for validation, just to add her voice to the chorus, to be part of a community that understood, that believed, that survived. The responses came quickly, dozens of women sharing their own stories, their own escapes, their own battles with abusive partners. You're not alone. I'm 6 months into my own journey. It gets easier. My ex also threatened custody. The courts saw through it. Stay strong. You're doing the right thing. Thank you for speaking up. You helped me recognize my own situation. Cassie read every message. Let the words sink in. Let the solidarity strengthen her. She wasn't alone, had never been alone. There were thousands of women fighting the same battle, surviving the same nightmare, finding the same strength. The baby kicked, strong, insistent, a reminder of why she was doing this, who she was protecting. Cassie put both hands on her belly, whispered into the dark room, I know this is scary. I know everything's changing, but we're going to be okay. I promise. Your mother is learning how to fight back, how to stand up, how to choose us over someone who only knows how to love with violence." She paused. "And when you're old enough, I'll tell you this story. I'll show you that photo. I'll explain why sometimes the hardest thing is also the right thing. Why choosing yourself isn't selfish. Why leaving takes more courage than staying." The baby kicked again, like agreement, like understanding, like faith. Outside, the world kept spinning. Derek kept spiraling. The internet kept debating. But in this moment, in this room, Cassie Morrison chose peace, chose rest, chose to believe that tomorrow she would wake up and keep fighting. Because that's what survivors did. They survived. One day, one choice, one breath at a time. The restraining order hearing fell on a Thursday morning. Cassie wore navy blue maternity dress. Professional, composed, her belly had grown even larger. 8 months now, the baby would come soon. Victoria met her at the courthouse, briefcase in hand, confidence in her posture. "How are you feeling?" Victoria asked. "Terrified." "Good, that means you're taking this seriously." Victoria guided her toward the courtroom. "Derek's lawyers are going to attack your credibility. They're going to suggest you're using the pregnancy for sympathy, that you're exaggerating for attention, that the viral photo was a lucky angle. Don't let them rattle you. Just tell the truth." They entered the courtroom. Derek sat at the defendant's table with two lawyers, both men in expensive suits, both carrying thick files. Derek looked different, thinner. His suit hung loose on his frame. His face showed strain, dark circles under his eyes, jaw tight. When he saw Cassie, something flashed across his face. Anger, betrayal, hurt. She looked away. The judge entered. An older woman with silver hair and reading glasses. Judge Catherine Morrison. No relation. "Good morning," the judge said. "This is a hearing regarding a temporary restraining order petition filed by Cassandra Morrison against Derek Morrison. Ms. Brennan, you're representing the petitioner?" "Yes, Your Honor." "Mr. Thompson, you're representing the respondent?" "Yes, Your Honor." "Then let's proceed." Victoria called Cassie to the stand. She walked carefully, her hand on her belly. The baby kicked, nervous energy transferring through skin. She took the oath, sat down, adjusted the microphone. Victoria led her through the testimony. The wedding, the throat grab, the pattern of abuse over 4 years, the escalation during pregnancy, the threatening texts, the public statements Derek made. "Can you show the court the marks on your neck?" Victoria asked. Cassie pulled down the collar of her dress slightly. The bruises had faded to yellow-green, but the pattern remained visible. 5 distinct marks. The judge leaned forward, studied them, made a note. Derek's lawyer, Thompson, stood for cross-examination. He was polished, smooth, the kind of lawyer money buys. "Ms. Morrison, you claim these bruises came from your husband's hand. But isn't it true that pregnant women bruise more easily?" "Yes, but these bruises are shaped like fingerprints." "Shaped like fingerprints, or vaguely resembling fingerprints because that's the story you want to tell?" Thompson smiled, not kind, calculated. "Isn't it true that you and your husband had been drinking at this wedding?" "Derek had been drinking. I was pregnant. I didn't drink." "Right, you were exhausted, emotional, hormonal, as pregnant women naturally are. And in your exhausted, emotional, hormonal state, you misinterpreted a caring gesture as violence." "No, he grabbed my throat. There were witnesses. Witnesses who saw a husband steadying his pregnant wife, a husband who was concerned she might fall, a husband whose hand placement was unfortunate but not malicious." Thompson paced. "You've since left the marital home, filed for separation, done a television interview painting your husband as an abuser. Isn't it true you're trying to gain advantage in a custody battle?" "No, I'm trying to keep myself and my baby safe." "Safe from what? From a man who built you a beautiful life, who provided for you, who is guilty of one unfortunate moment caught on camera at the worst possible angle?" Victoria objected. Argumentative. Sustained. Thompson changed tactics. Ms. Morsi, you claimed in your interview that your husband has been abusive for 4 years, yet you never called the police, never went to the hospital, never filed a single report. Why is that? Because I was scared. Because he convinced me it was my fault. Because it's easy to make allegations without proof. Thompson cut her off. It's easy to take one bad photo and construct an entire narrative around it. It's easy to play the victim when you're the one who abandoned the marriage. I didn't abandon anything. I escaped. Escaped? How dramatic. Thompson returned to his table, shuffled papers. Your Honor, the respondent maintains that this entire situation has been blown out of proportion by social media hysteria. One photograph taken at a bad angle has destroyed my client's career, reputation, and marriage. There is no pattern of violence, no history of calls to police, no medical records documenting abuse, just allegations made by a woman who clearly has an agenda. Victoria stood. Your Honor, the petitioner has provided photographic evidence, medical documentation of the bruising, testimony from witnesses, and a pattern of threatening communications from the respondent. The respondent's own text messages demonstrate controlling behavior and implied threats regarding custody. The judge looked at Derek. Mr. Morrison, do you wish to testify? Derek stood, walked to the stand, took the oath. Thompson questioned him gently, sympathetically. Mr. Morrison, can you describe what happened at the wedding? Derek's voice came out measured, reasonable. My wife was tired, 7 months pregnant. I could see she was unsteady. I reached out to steady her. My hand placement was unfortunate. The photograph captured a split second that looked much worse than the reality. I would never intentionally hurt Cassie. I love her. I love our baby. You've since lost your position as CEO of Morrison Tech Solutions. Why is that? The board panicked. Social media created a narrative. They felt they had no choice but to distance themselves from the controversy. Derek's voice cracked slightly. I built that company from nothing, and one misunderstood moment destroyed everything. What do you want, Mr. Morrison? I want my wife to come home. I want us to go to counseling. Work through this. I want to be there when our baby is born. I want to be a father. Derek looked directly at Cassie. I'm not the monster she's making me out to be. I'm just a man who loves his wife and made one mistake. Victoria's cross-examination was surgical, precise. Mr. Morrison, you say you love your wife, yet you sent her text messages threatening custody battles, calling her a liar, blaming her for your career losses. Is that love? I was upset, hurt. I said things I shouldn't have. You said things like, this isn't over and you'll pay for this. Those aren't the words of someone seeking reconciliation. Those are threats. I was emotional. Emotional enough to grab your pregnant wife's throat at a wedding? I didn't grab. Derek stopped, breathed. It was a moment of poor judgment. Poor judgment? Is that also what you'd call the times you punched holes in walls, threw objects, screamed in your wife's face? Those are allegations. She has no proof. Actually, she does. She's been documenting for 6 months. Photos of damaged property, screenshots of threatening messages, a history of incidents that paint a very clear picture. Victoria pulled out printed photos, submitted them as evidence. Your Honor, these photos show holes in walls, broken furniture, and messages from Mr. Morrison that demonstrate a pattern of escalating violence and control. Derek's face reddened. Those are out of context. Context doesn't change the fact that you put your fist through drywall multiple times. Context doesn't change the fact that you sent your pregnant wife messages threatening her parental rights if she didn't return home immediately. The hearing lasted 2 hours. Both sides presented evidence. Both sides called witnesses. Nicole testified. Marcus testified. The photographer Jenna submitted her sequence of photos with timestamps. Derek's mother testified on his behalf, claimed Cassie was manipulative, that Derek was a good man under pressure, that pregnancy had made Cassie unstable. When everyone had spoken, when all evidence was presented, the judge removed her glasses, looked at both parties. I've reviewed the photographic evidence, the medical documentation, the witness statements, and the communication records. I've heard testimony from both parties. She paused. Mr. Morrison, I find your explanation of the events at the wedding unconvincing. The photograph clearly shows your hand around your wife's throat in a manner inconsistent with steadying someone. The bruising pattern supports Ms. Morrison's testimony. The threatening communications demonstrate a pattern of controlling behavior. Derek's lawyer started to stand. The judge raised her hand. I'm granting the temporary restraining order. Mr. Morrison, you are not to contact Ms. Morrison directly. All communication must go through attorneys. You are not to come within 500 feet of her person, her residence, or her workplace. This order remains in effect until the final hearing scheduled for, she checked her calendar, 6 weeks from today. Derek's face went white. Your Honor, my baby is due in 4 weeks. I have a right to be there for the birth. Your rights end where Ms. Morrison's safety begins. If you wanted to be present for the birth, you'll need to petition the court with specific supervised arrangements. But as of now, you are to have no direct contact. The gavel came down. Final. Absolute. Cassie felt something release in her chest. Not relief as clearly, but validation. A judge had looked at the evidence and believed her, had seen through Derek's performance and recognized the truth. They exited the courtroom. Derek and his lawyers went one direction. Cassie, Victoria, Nicole, and Marcus went the other. Outside in the hallway, Victoria smiled. That went as well as we could have hoped. What happens now? Now Derek has to follow the order or face contempt charges. Now you can start building your new life without fear of him showing up unannounced. Now, a commotion erupted behind them. Raised voices, a crash. They turned. Derek stood in the hallway, his lawyers trying to hold him back, his face red with rage. This is bullshit, he shouted. That's my baby, my child. You can't keep me from my own kid. Mr. Morrison, calm down, one of his lawyers urged. Calm down. She just took everything from me, my company, my reputation. And now my child? No, I won't accept this. Security guards approached, hands on their belts, ready to intervene. Derek saw them, saw Cassie watching. Something in his face shifted, from rage to something worse, something cold. You think you won, he called to her, voice carrying down the hallway. You think that piece of paper protects you, but it doesn't. You're still mine, Cassie. That baby is still mine. And this, he gestured at the courtroom, this is just the beginning. I will fight for my rights. I will prove you're a liar, and I will make sure everyone knows what you really are. Mr. Morrison, stop talking, his lawyer hissed. But Derek couldn't stop. The dam had broken. I gave you everything, and you threw it away, threw me away. For what? For sympathy? For attention? For your 15 minutes of victim fame? He laughed, sharp, bitter. Enjoy it while it lasts, because when that baby is born, when the custody battle starts, when the truth comes out, everyone will see, everyone will know. You're nothing without me. You always have been. Security grabbed his arms, started pulling him away. Derek's voice echoed. You'll regret this. You'll regret all of it. The guards forced him around the corner. His voice faded, but the threat lingered, hanging in the air like smoke. Marcus stepped in front of Cassie, protective. Don't listen to him. He's just... I know what he is. Cassie's voice came out steady, stronger than she felt. He's a man who's losing control, and that makes him dangerous. Victoria pulled out her phone. I'm documenting this. Those threats violate the restraining order he just received. I'll file a motion first thing tomorrow morning. They left the courthouse, got into Marcus's truck, drove back to his house. Cassie sat in silence, processing. The baby kicked, hard, uncomfortable. She shifted positions, couldn't get comfortable. You okay? Nicole asked from the back seat. I don't know. I feel... She stopped, tried to name it. I feel like I should be relieved. The judge believed me, granted the order. Derek has to stay away. That's good. That's what I wanted. But instead, I just feel scared, Marcus supplied. Yes, scared. Because Derek's right about one thing. The restraining order is just paper. It doesn't actually stop him if he decides to... She couldn't finish the sentence. Then we don't take chances, Marcus said. You stay with us until the baby comes. After that, we'll figure out next steps. Maybe a security system. Maybe moving to a place Derek doesn't know about. Maybe. Cassie's phone buzzed, unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but the area code looked familiar. Hello? Ms. Morrison, this is Dr. Helen Crawford, your OB. I'm calling because you missed your appointment this morning. The appointment? And Cassie had completely forgotten. The restraining order hearing had consumed everything. I'm so sorry. It's okay. I saw the news. I understand things are complicated right now. But Cassie, you're 8 months pregnant. High stress levels aren't good for you or the baby. I'd like to see you this afternoon if possible. Just to check on things. Make sure everything's okay. They rescheduled. Cassie went to the doctor's office at 3. Dr. Crawford was kind, professional. She didn't mention the bruises on Cassie's neck, but Cassie saw her notice them. Saw her make a note in the file. How are you feeling physically? Dr. Crawford asked as she measured Cassie's belly. Tired, sore, the baby's kicking a lot. That's normal. Babies get more active as they run out of room. She pressed a stethoscope to Cassie's abdomen, listened. Heartbeat sounds good, strong. Your blood pressure is a bit elevated, though. The stress, I know, but stress during pregnancy can cause complications. Preterm labor, low birth weight. I want you to try to minimize stressors as much as possible. Cassie almost laughed. Almost. My husband is threatening custody. I'm living with my brother. I just got a restraining order. Minimize stress isn't really an option right now. Dr. Crawford sat down, looked at her with kind eyes. I've been an OB for 23 years. I've seen a lot of women in your situation, more than you'd think. And I always tell them the same thing. Your job right now is to keep yourself and that baby healthy. Everything else, the legal battles, the public opinion, the threats, those are tomorrow's problems. Today you focus on breathing, resting, taking care of your body. How do I do that when everything's falling apart? One day at a time, one moment at a time, and by accepting help from the people who love you. She handed Cassie some pamphlets. These are resources for pregnant women in crisis, support groups, counseling, financial assistance if you need it. You don't have to do this alone. After the appointment, Cassie sat in her car, hands on her belly, feeling the baby move. I'm trying, she whispered. I'm trying to keep you safe, to make good choices, to build a life where you don't have to be afraid. But it's hard. It's so hard. And I'm scared I'm going to mess this up. Scared I'm not strong enough. Scared Derek will find a way to. The baby kicked, strong like a disagreement, like faith. Cassie closed her eyes. Breathed, let the panic recede slightly. She could do this, one day at a time. One choice at a time, one breath at a time. Her phone buzzed, text from a blocked number. Restraining orders don't change biology. That baby is half mine, and I will be in their life, whether you like it or not. You can't erase me. You can't pretend I don't exist. I'm their father, and fathers have rights. See you in court, Adam. Cassie screenshot the message, sent it to Victoria, added it to the growing file of evidence. Then she drove back to Marcus's house, to safety, to family, to the people who chose to protect her instead of control her. Jennifer had dinner ready, spaghetti, garlic bread, simple, comforting. Marcus's kids, 8-year-old twins, chattered about their day. School drama, friend drama, normal kid stuff. Cassie sat at the table, ate food she couldn't taste, smiled at stories she barely heard, existed in a space between past and future where the present felt fragile, temporary. That night she lay in bed and felt the baby kick. Regular, insistent, alive. 4 more weeks. 4 weeks until this baby came into a world Cassie was desperately trying to make safe. 4 weeks to figure out her next move. 4 weeks before everything changed again. She put her hands on her belly, whispered promises into the dark. I will protect you, no matter what, no matter who I have to fight, no matter what I have to sacrifice. You will be safe. You will be loved. You will grow up knowing that violence is never acceptable, that love shouldn't hurt, that you deserve better than I settled for. The baby kicked, like agreement, like trust. And for tonight, in this moment, that was enough. 3 days after the restraining order hearing, Cassie woke to sharp pain radiating across her belly. Not contractions. Different. Wrong. She checked the time. 2:47 a.m. The pain came again, sharper, accompanied by warmth between her legs. Blood. Nicole? Cassie called. Her voice came out strangled, scared. Nicole had moved into Marcus's guest room too, sleeping on an air mattress on the floor. She woke immediately. What is it? Something's wrong. There's blood. Nicole turned on the light, saw Cassie's face, saw the panic. Marcus! Nicole yelled. We need to go to the hospital. Now! The drive felt eternal. Every bump in the road sent pain shooting through Cassie's body. Every minute stretched. The baby hadn't kicked since she woke up. Please, Cassie whispered. To God, to the universe, to anyone listening. Please let my baby be okay. Please, I'll do anything. Just let my baby be okay. Marcus drove with his hazards on, speeding, running a red light, not caring. They pulled up to the emergency entrance. Nicole ran inside, returned with a wheelchair and 2 nurses. Everything moved fast then. They wheeled Cassie to labor and delivery, got her into a gown, hooked her up to monitors. The sound of the baby's heartbeat filled the room. Fast but present, alive. Cassie sobbed with relief. Dr. Crawford arrived 20 minutes later, still in sweatpants and a t-shirt, hair pulled back, no makeup. Okay, let's see what we're dealing with. She examined Cassie, checked the monitors, made notes. You're having what we call stress-induced bleeding. The baby's heartbeat is elevated but stable. We're going to keep you here for observation. Try to stop the bleeding. Keep things calm. Is the baby okay? Right now, yes. But Cassie, this is a warning sign. Your body is telling you something. You need to rest. Actually rest. No more court hearings, no more stress. Just complete bed rest until this baby decides to come. I can't. You can and you will. Because the alternative is delivering this baby prematurely at 32 weeks. And I know you don't want that. They admitted her, got her into a private room, monitors beeping steadily, IV in her arm, instructions to stay still, to breathe, to let her body do what it needed. Marcus and Nicole stayed, took shifts sitting in the uncomfortable chair by her bed. At 7 a.m., Jennifer arrived with coffee and a change of clothes. The kids are at my mom's. I'm here as long as you need. You don't have to. We're family. This is what family does. Victoria came at 9 with paperwork, legal documents that couldn't wait. The hospital called Derek's lawyer per hospital policy, Victoria explained. They have to notify the father when the mother is admitted while pregnant. Derek is demanding to be here. No, Cassie's voice came out firm. He can't be here. The restraining order. I know, I'm filing an emergency motion to enforce it, but Cassie, his lawyers are arguing that his parental rights supersede the restraining order during a medical emergency involving his child. It's not an emergency. The baby's fine. I'm fine. I just need rest. I'll handle it, but I needed you to know he's fighting to get in here. After Victoria left, Cassie lay in the hospital bed and stared at the ceiling, at the fluorescent lights, at the generic art print on the wall. Some beach scene, peaceful, false. The door opened. A nurse Cassie hadn't met yet entered. Hi, honey, I'm Sarah. I'll be your nurse today. She checked the monitors, made notes. How are you feeling? Scared. That's understandable, but your baby looks good on the monitors. Heartbeat strong. You were not having contractions. The bleeding stopped. All good signs. My husband wants to be here. There's a restraining order, but he's fighting it. Sarah's hands stilled on the monitor. She looked at Cassie, really looked, then at the fading bruises on her neck. I saw your interview, Sarah said quietly, on the news. My sister was in a situation like yours. She didn't make it out. She adjusted Cassie's IV. You listen to me. You focus on your baby. That's all that matters right now. The person downstairs demanding access, he doesn't get to take this from you too. He doesn't get to make you stressed during a medical crisis. You understand? But if the hospital has to let him, the hospital has to follow the law. And the law says there's a restraining order. Until a judge says otherwise, he stays away from you. And even if a judge does say otherwise? Sarah smiled slightly. Hospital staff has wide discretion about who we let into patient rooms, especially when the patient is in distress and the visitor might cause more distress. We protect our patients, always. The words created a small island of safety, temporary but real. Cassie closed her eyes, tried to rest. The monitors beeped. The IV dripped. The baby kicked. Finally, a small flutter of movement. She put her hand on the spot, felt the life invade her, the reason for everything. At noon, Derek's lawyer called Victoria. They put it on speaker so Cassie could hear. My client has every right to be present during a medical emergency involving his unborn child, the lawyer argued. Your client has a restraining order that explicitly prohibits him from contact with Ms. Morrison. That includes at medical facilities. Parental rights do not override protective orders. Victoria's voice stayed ice cold. If Mr. Morrison wants to modify the restraining order to allow hospital visits, he can petition the court. Until then, he stays 500 feet away or he'll be in contempt. After the call ended, Cassie asked, can he petition the court? He can try, but it takes time. Judges don't love being asked to modify protective orders 1 week after granting them, especially when the modification request is based on a medical situation that the respondent's behavior likely caused. At 3 p.m., Marcus's phone rang. He stepped into the hallway, returned 5 minutes later, his face tight. What is it? Nicole asked. Derek's in the parking lot, sitting in his car, just sitting there. That's a violation of the restraining order, Victoria said immediately. Hospital property counts as her location. 500 feet means he needs to be off the property entirely. Should we call the police? Victoria was already dialing. Absolutely. 20 minutes later, 2 police officers arrived. They went to the parking lot, found Derek's car. When they returned, they spoke to Victoria in the hallway. Cassie could hear some of it through the partially open door. He claims he has a right to be nearby during a medical emergency involving his child. He's not approaching the building, just waiting in case he's needed. There's a restraining order, 500 feet. That's not ambiguous. Ma'am, we can ask him to leave, but unless he refuses, we can't arrest him for sitting in a car. They asked Derek to leave. Eventually he did, but the message was clear. He was watching, waiting, pushing boundaries. That night, alone in the hospital room with just the monitors for company, Cassie did the 3 a.m. thing everyone in crisis does. She Googled, how to leave an abusive husband when pregnant. What happens to restraining orders after baby is born? Can abusive fathers get custody? Co-parenting with abuser. Protecting children from violent parents. Every article said similar things. Document everything. Get a good lawyer. Don't back down. Stay strong. But none of them talked about how exhausting it was, how every day felt like a battle, how fear became background noise you learned to function through. None of them talked about how much you could love someone and know they were dangerous at the same time. None of them talked about the guilt, the shame, the voice in your head that still made excuses, that still wondered if maybe you were overreacting. If maybe that photo really was just a bad angle. Cassie looked at the photo on her phone, the one Jenna took, the viral image. She studied it, really looked at it. Derek's hand around her throat, his fingers tight, his face showing rage, her face showing fear, terror, resignation. That was real. That happened. No amount of gaslighting or rewriting history could change what the camera captured. I'm not crazy, she whispered to the empty room. I know what I felt. I know what's real. This is real. The baby kicked. Agreement, validation. At 4 a.m., Cassie's phone buzzed. Text from a blocked number. I hope the baby's okay. I'm worried. I'm their father. I deserve to know what's happening. But I guess my rights don't matter. I guess being treated like a criminal is what I get for one bad moment. I hope you can live with keeping me from my own child. I hope the guilt doesn't eat you alive. More manipulation, more emotional warfare. Concern and blame in the same message. Cassie screenshot it, sent it to Victoria, added it to the pile. Then she put her phone on airplane mode, turned off the outside world, focused on the monitor showing her baby's heartbeat. Strong, steady, alive. We're going to be okay, she told the baby. The room, herself. This is temporary. This fear, this hospital, this fight, it's all temporary. But you and me, we're permanent. We're a team. And I will protect you from anyone who tries to hurt us, including your father. The words felt true, heavy but true. She had spent 4 years making herself smaller, quieter, more acceptable, trying to love Derek into being different, trying to fix herself into being enough. But she was done shrinking, done apologizing for surviving, done protecting the man who put her in this hospital bed. Dr. Crawford came by at 6 a.m., checked the monitors, examined Cassie. Everything looks stable. Bleeding stopped completely. Baby's heartbeat is perfect. I think we can discharge you this afternoon with strict bed rest instructions. No more hospital? Not unless something changes. But Cassie, I'm serious about the bed rest. Only getting up to use the bathroom. No stress. No visitors who upset you. Your only job right now is to keep that baby cooking for 4 more weeks. I can do that. I know you can. You're stronger than you think. Crawford patted her hand. Your baby's lucky to have a mother who fights this hard. They discharged her at 2 p.m. Marcus drove carefully. No bumps, no fast turns, treating Cassie like fragile cargo. When they pulled into the driveway, Nicole opened the car door, helped Cassie out, guided her inside. Jennifer had set up the guest room like a recovery suite, or first suite. Water bottles on the nightstand, snacks within reach, phone charger plugged in, remote controls for the TV, books, magazines, everything Cassie might need without getting up. You're stuck in bed, Jennifer said, so we're making sure you have everything. Cassie settled into bed. The real bed felt better than the hospital one, softer, familiar, safe. That evening, Victoria called with an update. Derek filed a motion to modify the restraining order, specifically requesting the right to be present at the birth. What are our chances of blocking it? Good but not guaranteed. He's playing the parental rights card hard. The judge will have to balance his rights against your safety. Victoria paused. I'm recommending we agree to supervise visitation at the hospital. 1 hour with security present. It takes away his argument that we're denying him access while maintaining your safety. Cassie's stomach turned. The thought of Derek in the room, near her, near the baby. Do I have to? No, but strategically it might be smart. Shows we're reasonable. Shows we're not trying to keep him from the baby, just from hurting you. I need to think about it. That night, Cassie lay in bed and thought about the birth, about labor, about being vulnerable and in pain and bringing new life into the world. Did she want Derek there? No. Did she want to fight him on it and risk a judge forcing worse terms? Also no. She put both hands on her belly, felt the baby move. Active tonight, stretching, kicking. What do I do? She asked the baby. How do I balance protecting us with not looking like I'm keeping you from your father? No answer came, just movement, life. The steady reminder that choices had to be made, whether she felt ready or not. Her phone buzzed, text from Nicole downstairs. Amanda Foster went public today, full interview, named Derek, detailed what he did to her. It's all over the news. Cassie turned on the TV, found the news station. There was Amanda, 32 years old, former Morrison Tech employee, sitting in a chair very similar to the one Cassie had sat in, telling her story. He grabbed my wrist during a meeting, twisted it until I cried out, then told everyone I was being hysterical, that I couldn't handle constructive criticism. Amanda's voice stayed steady, strong. When I reported it to HR, they offered me 6 months' salary and an NDA. I was 25. I needed the money. I signed, and I've regretted it every day since. The interviewer asked about breaking the NDA. Some things are more important than contracts, like truth, like protecting other women, like making sure Derek Morrison can't keep doing this. Amanda looked directly at the camera. To every woman he hurt, every woman he threatened, every woman he paid off. I see you, I believe you, and I'm done protecting him. 2 more women appeared on screen, Lauren Mitchell and Jessica Williams, each telling their stories, each breaking their NDAs, each adding to the public record of Derek's violence. The news anchor wrapped up the segment. Morrison Tech's board has issued a statement condemning these actions and stating they were not aware of the extent of Mr. Morrison's behavior. Former CEO Derek Morrison's lawyers released a statement calling these allegations a coordinated attack by disgruntled former employees seeking attention and financial gain. Morrison maintains his innocence and states he will fight all allegations in court. Cassie turned off the TV. 3 women, 3 more victims, all speaking up because she had spoken first. The ripple effect of courage, of truth, of refusing to stay silent. She picked up her phone, texted Amanda, "Thank you for being brave, for speaking up. You helped me too." Amanda replied 5 minutes later, "We all helped each other. That's how we win." That night, Cassie slept better than she had in weeks. Not because the situation was resolved, not because Derek was gone, not because everything was okay, but because she wasn't alone, because other women stood with her, because truth was stronger than threats, because speaking up had started something bigger than herself, and tomorrow she would wake up, still pregnant, still fighting, still scared, but also still standing, still fighting back, still choosing herself and her baby over the man who tried to make her small. That was victory enough for one day. The bed rest weeks passed slowly. Cassie's world shrunk to Marcus's guest room, to Netflix and books and phone calls with Victoria, to feeling the baby grow bigger, stronger, closer to being ready. She turned her laptop into a connection to the outside world, joined online support groups for domestic violence survivors, read other women's stories, shared her own in small, anonymous pieces. "My ex used to say I was lucky he put up with me. Mine too. Mine said no one else would want me. Mine said I'd never make it on my own." The solidarity helped, knowing she wasn't alone, wasn't broken, wasn't uniquely damaged. She was surviving, like thousands of other women, like millions throughout history, one day at a time. Jennifer brought meals. Marcus checked on her constantly. Nicole read her news articles about Derek's unraveling empire. Morrison Tech stock had dropped 40%. 3 board members resigned. Major clients pulled contracts. The company Derek built was collapsing under the weight of truth. Cassie felt no satisfaction in it, no victory, just exhaustion and a strange sort of grief for the man she thought she married. The man who maybe never existed. At 36 weeks, Dr. Crawford declared Cassie healthy enough to move around more, not back to normal life, but out of strict bed rest. "The baby looks great," Dr. Crawford said at the appointment. "Good weight, good position. You could go into labor any time now." "What about the birth plan?" "That's up to you. Who do you want in the room?" "Nicole, maybe Marcus outside in case." "And the father?" Cassie had wrestled with this question for weeks. She and Victoria had negotiated with the Derek's lawyers, came to a compromise the judge approved. Derek can come to the hospital after the baby's born. Supervised visit, 1 hour, security present, but not during labor, not in the delivery room. Dr. Crawford nodded. That seems reasonable given the circumstances. His lawyers keep calling it cruel, keep saying I'm denying him the experience of his child's birth. You're protecting yourself during a vulnerable time. That's not cruel, that's survival. So Crawford closed the file. "You know what I tell all my patients? Labor is intense. It's hard. You need people who support you unconditionally, not people who stress you out. Your only job during labor is to bring that baby safely into the world. Everything else, the father's feelings, public opinion, legal battles, those can wait." The words settled something in Cassie's chest. Permission to prioritize herself, her baby, their safety. 2 days later, Marcus and Jennifer helped Cassie move into a small apartment. 1 bedroom, ground floor, security system, a place Derek didn't know about. Victoria had arranged everything. Used funds from the joint account before Derek could freeze it. Got Cassie set up with enough money to survive for a few months. Nicole helped unpack, set up the nursery in the corner of the bedroom. Simple, functional, safe. "How does it feel?" Nicole asked as they assembled the crib. "Your own place." "Scary, but good." Cassie tightened a bolt. "For 4 years, Derek controlled where I lived. what furniture we had, what color the walls were. This is the first time since college I've had my own space. What color are you painting the walls? I don't know yet. Maybe I'll leave them white for now. Cassie smiled. Just having the choice is enough. That evening, alone in her new apartment, Cassie sat in the dark and felt the baby move. Big movements now, running out of room, getting ready. She had spent 4 years making herself smaller, quieter, more manageable, trying to fit into the space Derek allowed. But this apartment, tiny as it was, belonged to her. She could paint the walls purple if she wanted, could eat ice cream for dinner, could leave dishes in the sink without fear, could exist without monitoring someone else's mood, without calculating whether her words would trigger an explosion. The silence felt strange, not tense, not waiting, just silent. She got up. Carefully, the baby was pressing on everything and walked through the space. Bedroom, bathroom, small kitchen, tiny living room, all hers. She stopped at the window, looked out at the parking lot, the street lights, the normal world continuing. Her phone buzzed. Text from Derek's lawyer. Mr. Morrison would like to send items for the baby. Clothes, diapers, formula. Can we arrange a drop-off? Cassie showed the text to Victoria via screenshot. Victoria replied, classic control move. He wants access. Wants to establish precedent for visiting your apartment. Say no. You have everything you need. He can send child support payments through the legal system. Cassie typed back to Derek's lawyer. Please communicate all requests through my attorney. I have everything the baby needs. 3 minutes later, her phone rang. Blocked number. She didn't answer. Voicemail notification popped up. She played it on speaker. Derek's voice filled the apartment. Strained, desperate, angry. This is ridiculous, Cassie. I'm trying to be a good father. Trying to provide for my child, and you won't even let me send diapers. What kind of person does that? What kind of mother keeps a father from caring for his baby? His voice cracked. I miss you. I miss us. I know things got out of hand. I know I messed up. But we can fix this. We can go to counseling. I can change. I am changing. I'm in therapy. I'm working on myself for you, for us, for our baby. Please, please just talk to me. Then his tone shifted. Harder. Or don't. Keep playing the victim. Keep turning everyone against me. Keep pretending you're innocent in all this. But remember, that baby is half mine. Biology doesn't care about restraining orders. When they're born, when they ask about their father, you'll have to tell them something. And what are you going to say? That you kept me away? That you denied them a father because of one photograph? Good luck explaining that when they're old enough to ask questions. The message ended. Cassie deleted it, but the words lingered. The threat wrapped in paternal concern, the guilt trip disguised as longing. She put both hands on her belly, felt the baby kick. Your father is complicated, she said aloud. Come day, when you're older, I'll tell you the whole story. I'll show you the photos, the medical records, the legal documents. I'll explain why protecting you meant keeping him at a distance. And I hope you'll understand. I hope you'll know that love doesn't look like what he gave me. That family doesn't feel like fear. The baby kicked again, like listening, like trusting. At 37 weeks, Cassie woke at 2 a.m. to her water breaking. Not dramatic like in movies, just a pop and warmth and the sudden knowledge that this was happening. Nicole, she called. Nicole had been staying on Cassie's couch. Insurance against exactly this moment. She woke immediately. Is it time? It's time. They drove to the hospital. Cassie breathed through early contractions. Not painful yet, just pressure, intensity, her body beginning the work of bringing life into the world. They checked her in, got her into a delivery room, hooked her up to monitors. The baby's heartbeat filled the room. Fast but strong, ready. Dr. Crawford arrived at 4 a.m., still in casual clothes. Okay, let's have a baby. Labor progressed slowly, hours of contractions, of breathing, of Nicole holding her hand, of Marcus pacing the hallway outside. At noon, Victoria called. Derek's lawyers just contacted me. They know you're in labor. He's demanding to be there. No, we agreed after the birth, supervised. They're saying the agreement isn't binding because you went into labor naturally, not scheduled. They're threatening to show up anyway. Cassie felt rage cut through the pain of contraction. I'm in labor. I'm vulnerable. I'm bringing a life into the world. And he's still trying to control me? Hospital security has your photo and his. They know not to let him pass the maternity ward entrance. But I wanted you to know he's pushing boundaries again. After the call, Cassie looked at Nicole. This is what it's going to be like, isn't it? Forever, him pushing, testing, trying to control. Probably, Nicole said honestly. But you don't have to face it alone, and you don't have to engage. You set boundaries, you enforce them, you protect yourself and the baby. That's all you can do. At 3 p.m., after 13 hours of labor, Cassie delivered a healthy baby girl, 7 pounds, 4 ounces, 20 inches long. Perfect. They placed her on Cassie's chest, skin to skin. The baby opened her eyes, looked around, found her mother's face. Cassie felt something crack open in her chest, not breaking, expanding. Love so fierce and immediate and overwhelming that everything else faded. Hi, she whispered. Hi, baby girl. I'm your mom. I've been waiting for you. The baby made a small sound, not quite a cry, just a greeting. A hello. Nicole cried, and Crawford smiled. The nurses fussed around them, and Cassie held her daughter and felt the world rearrange itself. Her name is Lily, Cassie said. Lily Hope Morrison. She had chosen Hope for the middle name weeks ago, because hope was what kept her going, what made her leave, what made her believe in futures different from her past. They cleaned and weighed Lily, checked all her parts, declared her perfect, brought her back to Cassie. You did it, Nicole said. You made a person. We made a person. Cassie looked at Lily's tiny face, her daughter, her responsibility, her chance to break cycles and build something new. And we just have to figure out how to keep her alive. One day at a time, Nicole reminded her. At 6 p.m., Victoria called again. Derek's lawyers are insisting on the supervised visit tonight. They say you agreed to 1 hour after birth. It's been 3 hours. Cassie looked at Lily sleeping in her arms, so small, so new, so vulnerable. The thought of Derek holding her, of his hands, the same hands that wrapped around Cassie's throat, holding this fragile new person. Not tonight, Cassie said. I'm exhausted. She's exhausted. Tomorrow, during visiting hours, with security present like we agreed. Victoria relayed the message, reported back. His lawyers say you're in violation of the agreement. The agreement says supervised visit after birth. It doesn't specify exact timing. Tomorrow is after birth. Cassie's voice came out firm. I just pushed a human being out of my body. He can wait 12 more hours. That's what I told them. They're threatening to file for emergency custody. Let them try. Any judge who grants custody to a man with a restraining order while the mother is recovering from giving birth isn't a judge I trust anyway. After Victoria hung up, Cassie looked at Nicole. Was that wrong? Should I have let him come tonight? No, you set a boundary. That's healthy. That's strong. Nicole adjusted Lily's blanket. He's going to push. Keep pushing. Testing limits. That's what abusers do. They need control. And you not giving it to him? That drives him crazy. But that's his problem. Not yours. That night, alone in the hospital room with just Lily and the monitors, Cassie experienced true peace for the first time in 4 years. No tension waiting for Derek to come home. No calculating his mood. No walking on eggshells. Just her and her baby and the quiet beeping of machines. She pulled Lily close, breathed in the smell of her. New life. Fresh start. I'm going to teach you what I had to learn the hard way, Cassie whispered. Your worth isn't determined by someone else's treatment of you. Love shouldn't hurt. Family shouldn't feel like fear. You are enough exactly as you are. You don't need to shrink or apologize or make yourself smaller to make someone else comfortable. Lily made a small sound in her sleep. Her tiny hand curled around Cassie's finger, and Cassie knew, bone deep, soul certain, she would protect this child from anyone, including Derek, especially Derek, because love looked like protection, like boundaries, like choosing safety over convenience. And Cassie was done with any other kind. Morning came with Lily's cry, hungry, demanding, alive. Cassie fed her daughter, marveling at tiny fingers and toes, at eyes that looked like hers and a nose that looked like Derek's. That last part hurt, the reminder that DNA didn't care about restraining orders. At 10 a.m., Victoria arrived with warnings. Derek's visit is at 2, security present. He gets 1 hour, no physical contact with you, intact. Hospital social worker documents everything. What if he tries something? Security removes him immediately. We file for supervised only visitation. Victoria squeezed her hand. You're in control here. Nicole arrived at 1, moral support and witness. At 2 o'clock exactly, Derek walked in, flanked by security guards, followed by a social worker with a clipboard. He looked terrible. Weight loss, unkempt hair, dark circles, the face of a man whose world had collapsed. When he saw Lily, everything changed. His face softened, eyes filled with tears. My baby, he whispered. My daughter. Cassie held Lily tighter, then carried her across the room, put her in Derek's arms. The look on his face, wonder, love, devastation, made Cassie's chest hurt. This was the tender version, the version that appeared between explosions. She's beautiful, Derek said. Perfect. Lily Hope, that's a beautiful name. He touched her tiny hand. Hi, baby girl. I'm your daddy. I know things are complicated, but I love you so much. Cassie watched from across the room. This man holding their daughter with such tenderness was the same man who wrapped his hand around her throat. Both versions were real. That was the tragedy. Can we talk? Derek looked up. Just for a minute? The visit is supervised. You can speak, but no private conversation. I'm sorry for everything. The wedding, the threats, all of it. His voice cracked. I'm in therapy twice a week, anger management, learning about patterns I learned growing up. I'm changing. He paused. But I don't want to lose my daughter. Please don't keep me from her. The court will determine custody. I'm protecting my Cove and Lily. From me, Derek looked at Lily. I would never hurt her, never. You said you'd never hurt me either. Multiple times. Derek flinched. That was different. You grabbed me while I was pregnant with her. You put your hands on your unborn child's mother. Cassie kept her voice steady. Forgive me if I need legal safeguards. The social worker made notes. The hour ticked by. When time was up, Derek kissed Lily's forehead, handed her back. Thank you, he said, for letting me meet her. She's your daughter. You have rights. We're exercising those rights within safe boundaries. Derek nodded, looked like he wanted to say more. Hug Cassie. Security stepped closer. Reminder. I'll see you at the custody hearing. Then to Lily, Daddy loves you, baby girl. He left. The room felt lighter. You did great, Victoria said. Professional, boundaried, perfect. After everyone left, Cassie held Lily and cried, exhausted, relieved. I don't hate him, she told Lily. I wish I did. That would be simpler, but I don't. I hate what he did, how he hurt me, but some part of me still loves who I thought he was. That night, Marcus visited with his family. She's perfect, Cass, and you're the strongest person I know. You left an abusive marriage while pregnant, went public, fought for a restraining order, gave birth and maintained boundaries. You did all that. Marcus looked at her. Raising this little girl? You've got this. The words helped, because Cassie had done impossible things and survived. Maybe that was enough. The park smelled like autumn. Cassie pushed Lily's stroller along the path, 12 months old now, walking, talking in small words, growing into her own person. A year had passed since the viral photo, since everything changed. The custody arrangement had settled. Derek got supervised visitation every other weekend. He showed up consistently, sober, trying. The restraining order expired, but Cassie maintained boundaries. Communication through lawyers only. She had built a life. Small apartment became home. Remote marketing job. Support group friends. Therapy. A blog for survivors that reached thousands. Today was the anniversary. Cassie had been invited to speak at a domestic violence awareness event. She stood at the podium, 50 people in the audience, mostly women with their own stories written on their faces. A year ago, the worst moment of my life went viral. My husband grabbed my throat at a wedding. A photographer captured it. 65 million people saw that photo. She paused. For a while, I felt humiliated, exposed, like my pain was entertainment. But I realized something. That photo saved my life because it meant I couldn't hide anymore. From the world, from myself. She told her story, the pattern, the escalation, the decision to leave, the ongoing challenge of co-parenting with someone who hurt you. I used to think that photo was the worst thing that happened to me. Now I see it as the moment I got a second chance. Sometimes your worst moment is actually your liberation. You just have to be brave enough to walk through the open door. After the speech, women approached, shared stories, thanked her. One woman, young, pregnant, nervous, held out her phone. I saw the photo a year ago. It made me look at my own relationship differently. I left 3 months later. My baby's due next month. I wanted to thank you. Cassie hugged her. You gave yourself permission. I just showed you it was possible. Outside, sitting on a bench with Lily, Cassie's phone buzzed with messages. Jenna, saw your speech online. Amazing. Rachel, happy anniversary of the day that saved both our lives. Getting married next spring. Hope you'll come. Emily Parker, 1 year later, still changing lives. A woman walked past, did a double take. You're her, from the photo. Cassie didn't hide. Yes. Thank you. Your interview helped me see my marriage wasn't normal. I'm leaving next week. I have a plan, a lawyer, and I wouldn't have done it without your example. After she left, Nicole sat beside Cassie. How something so terrible became something that helps people. Your worst moment became your purpose. It's meaning, Cassie replied, and that's something. They sat in comfortable silence. 2 friends, a baby, a normal afternoon. Later at home, after Lily slept, Cassie wrote her blog post about the anniversary. The woman in that photo was drowning, convinced she was trapped. The woman I am now, I'm learning to breathe. And to anyone reading this who sees their own life in my story, you're not crazy. Your instincts are right. You deserve better. That photo went viral 1 year ago today. And I'm grateful, because it meant I couldn't hide anymore. The woman in that photo was suffocating. The woman I am now, I'm learning to breathe. And if I can do it, so can you. She hit publish, checked on Lily one more time. Her daughter slept peacefully, safe, loved, protected. That was victory. That was purpose. That was enough. Cassie climbed into bed. Tomorrow would bring challenges. Derek would push boundaries. Lily would ask questions. Life would continue. But tonight, Cassie Morrison slept in peace, free from fear, free to be exactly who she was becoming. Strong, scarred, surviving, thriving. One day, one choice, one breath at a time, one photograph, one moment of truth, one woman's courage to choose herself and her daughter. If this story resonated with you, if you saw yourself in Cassie's journey, or if you know someone who needs to hear this, hit that like button. It tells me these stories matter. Drop a comment below sharing your thoughts. Your voice adds to the conversation that could help someone else. And if you want more stories like this, real, raw, and unfiltered, subscribe and turn on notifications. Because every week, I bring you stories of women who faced impossible choices and found the strength to survive them. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Sometimes one story can change everything. Thank you for listening, and remember, you deserve better. You always have.